We drop down into the lower 90s on Saturday and Sunday, but keep in mind it is a scorcher outdoors today.
Marquise, thanks so much. Thanks for joining us for Fox 5 News at noon. Portia is next. If you're watching on Fox Local, join us for Fox 5 News Live at 1.
Good Monday morning. Thanks for joining us here on Fox Local. I'm Jasmine Cornell. Thanks for joining this news conversation. We have a lot to get to, including several breaking stories this morning. I want to go ahead and bring in our assignment manager, Tanya Mendoza. She has a look at some of those stories, including this big one involving 2 missing kids. Hey, Tanya.
Hi, Jasmine. Yes, we have some breaking news right now from the Atlanta Police Department. We're told there's going to be a 1:30 press conference involving the 2 girls that were missing. I know most people this morning received an Amber Alert regarding 11-month-old Nora Cooper and 4-year-old Zola Cooper. The children were last seen, this is what the Amber Alert said, with a babysitter. So the girl's mother did give us some sound earlier, but now the girl's mother says that the children were found. We are trying to find out if they were found safely. We are over a scene where police and fire are, and that scene is over on Sylvan Road. And you can see right there that the helicopter is over that location, and they appear to be searching a van. That is where Ray Yedena is on the way. That's where the press conference is going to be. So we're thinking everything is connected, and that may be where the girls were found. We'll have more information once Ray gets there. We're going to put this press conference up live for you. There you go. You see all the police officers, fire. They were around a van, and we'll find out more once that press conference starts. Now, what we do know is that the babysitter, her name is Lakeisha Brown, and apparently a woman by the same name was arrested for kidnapping a 4-day-old baby in Jefferson County, Alabama. I believe it was back in 2021. We're trying to see if it's the same person and any other details police may have of this case. Sounds like she befriended the mother, and it wasn't until yesterday that the mother asked if she could babysit. So we'll have much more on this a little later. Let's see if we can roll the interview that Ray had with the mother from earlier right now.
When I first got a response back to her, she told me they was in a car accident, but it wasn't in a car accident because we called all the children's hospitals and the adult hospitals, and they said they wasn't in their system.
So that's the interview with the mother from earlier. We'll have more at 1:30 once police put that presser up live, and Ray will have that a little later. Sorry, we're hearing from. So it sounds like our helicopter crew is saying that it sounds like they're going to load up the children. So the children may be on the scene and they may be getting into an ambulance. We can take that helicopter shot real quick again. You can see, we just saw the ambulance a minute ago. There it is. It's heading closer to where police are searching a vehicle. So we'll have all the information on this case live at 1:30. What we do know is that the mother of the 2 girls told Ray Yedena over the phone that they were found. Jasmine?
Yeah, Tanya, some questions that need to be answered here. A very scary situation. It kind of reminds you of a Lifetime movie. Reportedly, this babysitter was supposed to be trusted, and she befriended the mother. The mom trusted her, and she allegedly went away with these 2 kids. Looking forward to that press conference and receiving more information. Again, you all are taking a live look here at the scene where we believe the kids were found. Of course, we'll bring you an update on this when police hold that press conference at 1:30 during the show. Tanya, another big story that we're following this morning is the officer-involved shooting, but some good news out of this officer-involved shooting here in the Atlanta area is that officer is expected to survive his injuries.
That's right. Reporter Angelique Proctor is over at Grady Hospital, where an Atlanta police officer is expected to be okay after being shot while responding to a mental health call. It happened this morning at a home on Clark Howard Lane. The suspect is now in custody, and that officer is recovering. Now, the Atlanta Police Chief Superintendent, Darren Schierbaum, and the mayor were outside Grady Hospital and held a press conference to update everybody on exactly what happened. Let's listen in.
Chief and I were in our cabinet meeting this morning, which is Monday mornings at 9 a.m. and Chief came over and said we have an officer that's been shot. And so he and I got up and we made it here in order to meet the ambulance that is bringing the officer into Grady, and saw him, saw he was okay. Now at that same time, the great men and women of APD was also tending to the scene where they were looking to apprehend a suspect, which he is now in custody as well.
Officers of Zone 4 Day Watch responded to the call. The call was a person in a mental health crisis that was armed with a firearm. This was not the first time we had been there. This is a return location where we've been called to multiple times of individuals in a mental health crisis. The officer was sharing with me just a short while ago, this was about his third time of being at this location. While the officers were attempting to address the situation, they were fired upon. And during that gunfire, our officer was shot in the arm. He is going to fully recover from those injuries.
All right, Jasmine. So the police officer was shot in the arm. He's expected to recover. Angelique's going to have much more on this story, and she will be live a little later today. Jasmine?
Yes, Tanya. Pretty scary situation here, too. Another officer-involved shooting in the area. But again, some good news out of this story is that the officer is expected to survive. Looking forward to that report as well from Angelique. This next story is gaining some headlines in the state of Georgia. A well-known person, a CEO involved in a Ponzi scheme and has been sentenced. So let's get into this story.
Actually, okay, so I believe this is a new Ponzi scheme, not the one from last week, not the CEO that was sentenced last week, which that one is getting traction online. I keep seeing that story pop up on my algorithm all weekend long. It's a wild story, and that one is on our website, so if anybody wants to go check out that one, they can. But now we received a press release from the U.S. Attorney's Office this morning. They're having a 2 p.m. news conference, and that's where Annie Mapp is on the way to. She'll put that up live for us as well, and we'll bring you the latest. But this is, they're describing this. I'm just going to read from what they sent me. They're saying a massive Ponzi scheme, and it was a suspect that was captured overseas, deported, and arrested. So this is a new Ponzi scheme, and they're going to update everyone on that, and we'll have the latest on that as soon as we get it.
Okay, another Ponzi scheme here.
Yeah, it's wild.
What is going on? But like you said, this is different from the one from last week with the Georgia CEO. So definitely looking forward to getting some more information on this one.
All right. Thank you, Jasmine. We'll have updates as soon as all those press conferences start. We'll let you know so you can get that live on the stream.
Absolutely, Tanya. Thanks so much for joining us. Let's move forward now and talk about another story we're following here in the Atlanta area. We are waiting for DeKalb County Police to give us more information after they responded to a report of a person down. Let's take a live look, if we can, at the scene along Evans Mill Road. There that is. You see the caution tape there, and it looks like this is in a neighborhood. This is near the Stonecrest area. Right now, we don't know if the person was shot or their condition, but we know that police responded to this area. As soon as police provide an update, we'll bring you the latest here on Fox 5 News Live and on our broadcast shows. Again, this is in DeKalb County. We're receiving reports that one person is down. Don't know if this is a shooting or how this person was injured. We'll keep you updated. You're taking a look at pictures here, video of the scene in a subdivision, it looks like, in DeKalb County. We'll keep you updated as we learn more. Moving forward to another big story here, Georgia music artist known as Lil Toonk appeared before a Fulton County judge this morning. So he was arrested on 6 counts of felony murder and other charges. Today in court, attorneys discuss more details in this case. And we now know the shooting happened in May of 2024 at an apartment complex after a party. The victim was identified as Javante Vaughn. The rapper, whose real name is Tavorian Lindsay, was taken into custody by Lamar County deputies who conducted a sweep that uncovered multiple firearms, including rifles and a handgun. So another story we'll keep you updated on. Lil Toonk appearing in court this morning after his murder arrest. Moving forward to Paulding and Douglas counties, authorities in those areas are preparing to release new details this week in the case of a man accused of sexually assaulting a woman over nearly 2 decades. Now, this is a past mugshot for Bobby Lee Hart. Investigators say his alleged crimes spanned 30 years, and victims have been identified in Cobb, Douglas, and Paulding counties. Officials do hope the new information will encourage other victims to come forward. So take a good look at your screen if you know of somebody who is a victim, a potential victim of this suspect here. Again, these crimes reportedly happening in Cobb, Douglas, and Paulding counties. Reach out to officials in those areas. They are hoping that more people who were impacted will come forward. Time right now is 1:11. We'll be back with more here on Fox Local on this news conversation. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll have more news right after this. Welcome back to this news conversation here on Fox Local. I'm Jasmine Cornell. Thanks so much for joining us. We told you about breaking news earlier. I want to take you back live out to that scene. This is in Southwest Atlanta, and this is involving the 2 missing girls that we reported earlier on Good Day Atlanta. Reportedly from the girls' mother, they have been found, and we did just see officials put 2 kids in that ambulance there on your screen. So I'm going to throw up a banner here so you know what we're talking about. You're taking a live look here at Sylvan Road in Southwest Atlanta. And an update that we have this morning is that the mom is saying that the girls have been found, and also that the girls were placed. We saw children being placed in this ambulance there on your screen. a little bit of the backstory here for the missing girls. So the Atlanta Police Department did announce that they will hold a press conference around 1:30 today to discuss all of this. But they were searching originally for these two girls who were reported missing overnight. You received that Amber Alert to your phone early this morning. They identified the kids as 4-year-old Zola Cooper and 11-month-old Nora Cooper. So the sisters were listed as critically missing. Now, it is believed that the babysitter here, police believe the babysitter is involved and abducted these girls. Now, the area that you're looking at, Sylvan Road, is where the girls were reportedly found. And like I mentioned before, we saw authorities putting girls into the ambulance on your screen. This is our chopper over this area. Now, the babysitter has been identified as Lakeisha Brown, and something very interesting about the story here, a woman by the same name was arrested in Jefferson County, Alabama, back in 2021 for kidnapping. Now, we don't know if this is the same woman, but it could possibly be. Now, Atlanta police confirmed to us that they believe it is the same woman. The resolution of that case is unknown at this time. Speaking of Jefferson County, Alabama case. And then we have reached out for more information here. But again, you're taking a look at live pictures of the scene here. We've been talking about this story all morning. And I know that you received that Amber Alert to your phone. I did. You see Grady on scene, the ambulance, and you also see officials out there still conducting their investigation. Again, we do believe that the kids were found. We saw some children being placed in the ambulance, which is some good news out of this story here. Very glad to report that. But again, officials are expected to give an update at 1:30 p.m. on this situation, and we're hoping to hear some good news, hoping that these kids have not been injured, and that they will be returned to their families promptly. Again, this scene here is Southwest Atlanta, Sylvan Road. You're taking a live look over the area. Our chopper is flying over the area. And the mom saying that these kids have been found. We did see the kids being placed in the ambulance there. Our time here is 1:17. We'll bring you back live out to the story. Again, we are expecting a press conference from officials at 1:30. Of course, we'll keep you updated here on Fox Local when we return. Welcome back to our news conversation here on Fox Local. We're going to talk weather here with meteorologist Marquise Mita. Thanks so much for joining us to talk about the temperatures. Hey, it's been hot, and I like it like that.
Yeah, I think you're one of only one people that likes the temperatures as warm as they are. You're one of a kind, I will say that, Jasmine. But yes, all throughout the week last week, we've watched these temperatures continue to stack up. We actually hit the mid and the upper 90s over the course of the weekend. As we get you outside, I promise you, it feels a lot worse than it looks. Looks like a nice, beautiful, sunny afternoon. But once you factor in the heat, you notice the temperatures have already climbed into the middle of the 90s, 94 degrees out the door. And it feels like you're already in the triple digits once you factor in the dew point and the humidity. So as we move across the afternoon, yeah, the skies will clear for a brief moment, but we do have a chance for some showers and storms. That is after temperatures peak in the upper 90s, likely hitting 97 to 98 degrees in Atlanta today. So where are we? Showing surrounding cities now. Covington 95 degrees, Athens 95 as well. But the warmest place to be here at 121, that's Eatonton, 97 degrees, even with that breeze from the north and the west. That'll bring in the chance for some showers as we cross over into the evening tonight. But what we will maintain all throughout the afternoon are these heat alerts. A heat advisory in place as heat indices could reach anywhere between 105 and 110 degrees. That's how warm it's going to feel to unexposed skin. So please make sure you're wearing the proper attire. In fact, just don't go outside at all when temperatures get this warm. If so, make sure you have that bottle of water close by. Hydration is going to be of the utmost importance today and throughout the majority of the work week too. One thing that we're monitoring though is this chance for a cold front moving in overnight, in which we will see that chance for cooler conditions tomorrow. As for today, heat indices will peak right around 104, 105 here in northern Georgia. But take a look at this. It's a small chance for some showers. Better chance will exist across Tennessee into North Carolina, where there's a slight risk, a 2 out of 5 issued by the Storm Prediction Center for strong and severe thunderstorms. What we could see here across Blairsville in northern Georgia, maybe a chance for some frequent lightning, large hail, and we can't rule out any damaging winds. It's all courtesy of this frontal boundary here. It's nearly stationary, but just to the north of the front, that's where flood watches are in place for Lexington, Kentucky, stretching all the way into southern Ohio and across the majority of West Virginia. We did have immense flooding in Indiana over the last few days, and now that flooding will push towards the east with that descent of the frontal boundary. Here back at home, not too much to see here, just a couple clouds across I-75. Ultimately, you guys have seen blue skies for the majority of the day. As we take you through your hour-by-hour forecast, we're watching that chance for some showers starting at 5 and 6 o'clock into the mountains, and then those push towards the south. Notice that temperatures cool once the showers move in. You're back in the low 70s in Blairsville as we head into the midnight hour. Chance for maybe a stray shower inside the metro, but of course the better opportunity lies to our north with the cold front. However, still moving south. It will pass us by, which is why we'll be trending cooler tomorrow than the highs we saw today. Otherwise, forecast lows, those are back in the 70s, widespread across northern Georgia tonight. Of course, cooler as you move further north. In Blairsville, 70 degrees overnight. Keep in mind your seasonal average is 71 here inside of Atlanta. So today, no surprise, 98 on the temperature reading in the afternoon. Cooler Tuesday and Wednesday, courtesy of that cold front. I'll say cool front with air quotes there as we drop down a few degrees, warming back up Thursday, but look to drop Friday into Saturday and Sunday. Lower 90s coming your way on that 3-day stretch. So a lot to look forward to. We just have to get through today. And the heat's coming your way on Thursday as well.
So, Marquise, you came from Florida, and you're trying to tell me that this isn't like a picture-perfect weather forecast?
I'll say we have less rain here in Georgia than Florida, but
okay.
I don't know. I could do lower 90s. It's a little bit more sustainable to me. Otherwise, the second I get outside, I'm already sweating through my suit just looking at these temperatures here.
Well, thanks so much for joining us to talk weather. Guys, I want to take you live out to some breaking news here. This is not in our area. This is in Oklahoma. So emergency services have been called to this area here, responding to a liquid natural gas tank fire. And you see the smoke there billowing up to the sky. This is near Highway 75 and West 126th Street and Glenpool. Again, if you're just joining us, this is Oklahoma. Police say this call came in regarding an explosion at the Explorer Pipeline facility around 8:30 this morning. Now, 2 tanks have exploded and remain on fire. That is what you're looking at on your screen. And crews are on scene trying to mitigate the fire and prevent it from further spreading. Explorer Pipeline shared a statement on this fire saying, quote, early this morning, a lightning struck a tank at the Explorer Pipeline Glenpool tank farm, resulting in this fire. The local fire department and emergency response teams have responded and secured the site. They also say additional fire response resources are en route, and Glenpool police have closed 126th Street South between Casper Avenue and Elwood. Again, this is not in our area, but in Oklahoma, a lightning strike starts this natural gas tank fire, and authorities there say 2 tanks have exploded and they are still on fire. That is what you see on your screen. Well, opening statements have started already in the trial for former gang leader accused of orchestrating the murder of rapper Tupac Shakur. A jury of 6 men and 10 women were selected here to hear the case against 76-year-old Dwayne Keefe D. Davis in Las Vegas. So prosecutors do not accuse Davis of pulling the trigger. That is something important to note. But they do allege he ordered the shooting and provided the gun. That is him on your screen. Davis has pleaded guilty. Let's take a listen to this trial. Today is day 1.
To verify if that information was true. Why not? Because the FBI just fell asleep? That the LAPD just didn't care? Keefe was never charged for any of what he said during that time period. And it's because they knew he was full of crap. Otherwise they would have. Why wouldn't they? When Detective Long comes back to Las Vegas, he goes and he talks it over with the Clark County District Attorney's Office. And you know what happened then? They didn't charge the case either. In 2009. Ask yourself the reason why that is. It's because they just didn't care about Tupac Shakur or his life? Or is it because they looked into it and realized we can't verify this information, we don't believe this to be true? Why would the Clark County District Attorney's Office not charge him in 2009? Now, what facts do we get out of Detective Long based upon what he did for those 15 years? We don't have any facts. Outside of statements made allegedly by PVD and other people, we don't have anything to verify any of that information. Not one single thing to corroborate the statements made by that man in 2008 or 2009. Not only by Metro, but by the FBI, by LAPD, by the DEA, by the United States Attorney's Office. No one corroborates any of this. So, 2017 comes along, and an entity called the Center of Investigative Reporting, they file what's called a FOIA request with Metro. And what that means is, FOIA is the Freedom of Information Act. It allows or requires government agencies to give up information if you ask for it. That's the goal. It's to be transparent. And people wanted to know what was going on with the murder files. This is 2017. This is years after any of the statements that were made and anything else. Where's the investigation? What's going on? Well, Metro said, no, we're not going to give it to you. So in 2018, the Senate turns around and files a lawsuit against Metro to force them to give them the file, to show them what work had you been doing over, at that particular point, I don't know, what's that, 20 years? That's when Detective Mogg enters the picture. What you will learn is that Detective Mogg basically says, I'm here just to close out the case. He's not here to solve the mystery.
Okay, you're taking a look at the highly anticipated murder case in the 1996 killing of rap icon Tupac Shakur. This started today with opening statements. Those opening statements underway. We know that a jury of 6 men and 10 women were selected last week to hear the case against 76-year-old Dwayne Keefe D. Davis in Las Vegas. This is a trial, of course, we'll be following, and we'll bring you you updates as we learn more. Again, Davis has pleaded not guilty. Prosecutors allege that he ordered the shooting and provided the gun, but did not actually pull the trigger. Moving forward now to some more positive news this afternoon. We know that Mercedes-Benz Stadium will be popping this November. You're taking a live look. Usher and Chris Brown have added a 5th show for the R&B tour stop in Atlanta. So if you did not get your ticket just yet, you have another option here. And the addition is due to, of course, high demand. Now, this added show is set for November 5th at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Pre-sale tickets will open starting August 20th, and general sale will begin August 24th. Usher and Chris Brown will become the first tour to play 5 dates at Mercedes-Benz and 1 tour stop, breaking Beyonce's previous record of 4 shows in 1 stop for Cowboy Carter. Of course, that was in 2025. But again, Atlanta will be welcoming Usher and Chris Brown. They've added this 5th show, and that is on November 5th. The Jonas Brothers will also be in the city of Atlanta for a concert. So if you like the Jonas Brothers, this is for you. They're bringing the Burning Up tour all over again. Wow, I haven't heard that song in such a long time. But they're doing this in 45 cities across North America this fall, including here in Atlanta. You can expect to see them on October 8th here. General on sale tickets begin on Friday, August 21st, and you can go to Ticketmaster.com for tickets. So general tickets begin on the 21st of this month, and then that concert will be on October 8th at State Farm Arena. Jonas Brothers for you. Moving now to another story here in our area. A new technical training campus opening in Smyrna, aiming to help fill the growing demand for skilled workers across Metro Atlanta. Our Chris Rosenthal joins us live with more. And Chris, I see those workers working hard back there behind you.
Yeah, absolutely. These are just some of the students here at the Universal Technical Institute here in Smyrna. These students are here in the automotive department, and they're working on transmissions and learning how to break down a transmission. And these are just some of the courses offered here at the Universal Technical Institute. They just opened here for classes in mid-July, and a variety of skilled labor disciplines here in the 115,000 square foot facility here. And I have Todd. He is the campus president here. And first of all, tell me, the skilled trades, why is this so important here?
Well, I mean, I think most of it really is about the demand. I mean, it's the norm was to send your kids to four-year schools. A lot of people found that as the safe bet. Send them up to four-year schools. They'll get your career after they've gone those many years. We're skilled trades. I mean, the demand is just unreal. Just the infrastructure in the United States and the demand for that. This calls for a 13% increase in skilled trade labor by 2032. So there's a need, and we found that need, and that's why we open here.
Yeah, and you're seeing it right here in this community too, because a lot of the businesses are coming to you, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. We've been really welcomed with open arms. We've been expected certainly some interest, but we've just had an unbelievable amount of interest from employers. It's really our customer coming in, wanting to partner with us. A lot of big corporations, brands, and so forth that we're already working with, and we don't even have grads yet.
Yeah, and that means jobs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's take a little bit more of a look here. I mean, I wish we could show you in this whole segment the entire facility, but we're just going to get to see a little bit of this place here in this segment here. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, so this is our auto diesel lab. So this is where we house 3 of our programs. We house our auto program, which is the main lab, as you can see, which is kind of on this side, encompasses all the different components and the different classes that go along with that. And then behind me here is our diesel program. houses all the semis and engines, refrigeration, and so forth. And then we actually have a combined program that's auto and diesel. So everything, this is the main lab, and then the room that you were just looking at, we call those collabs, where we have labs and classrooms together, and then of course we have our classrooms as well that make up the entire program.
And of course it's just the auto side. I mean, what else you guys have here?
Yeah, we really encompass all the skilled trades, the things that are in demand out there. That's what we're looking at. This is about finding people jobs as fast as we can. So we also have our skilled trade side, which is HVAC, welding. We have an electrical suite that includes low voltage, robotics program. We have a welding program, and then we also have an aviation A&P program.
And talk to me about the students. I mean, who is this for? Is this high school? Is this people who are changing careers later on? Well, all of it?
Yeah, absolutely. It is all of it. So we do have a very high number of high school students that are coming in where they're kind of looking at, do they want to spend 4 years again going out and finding a position, or do they want to find a job faster? And parents are noticing that as well. And there's a lot of competition out there. People talk about AI a lot, and these are really AI-proof programs where students can get out there, can get a skilled trade that goes with them forever. But our students that come here are kind of a mixture of the high school group, the younger students, but we also have a lot of people who are changing their careers. They're just fed up with the competition, with automation taking over, and this really makes a lot of sense for them. Plus, it's a passion program. People love doing this.
Absolutely. Well, Todd, thanks for joining us here at
Chris.
UTI Universal Technical Institute here in Smyrna.
Yes, Chris, thanks so much for joining us. We do have to get to breaking news at this hour. Police are getting ready to hold that press conference on the two girls who they believe were abducted by their babysitter. So we know that they're getting ready to speak. This is Atlanta police here speaking about the situation. And let's go ahead and bring up their mics so that we can see what they're saying this afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Deputy Chief Span of the Atlanta Police Department Criminal Investigations Division. Today I have with me Lieutenant Butler, our commander over our homicide unit, Major Malecki, our commander over our major crimes division section, as well as Captain Dearlove over our major crime section. Today we're here to report great news in reference to a kidnapping that occurred last night. Actually, the Atlanta Police Department received a 911 call. And before we get started, and I'll allow Lieutenant Butler to go into detail, just really want to give accolades to our department and the officers who have been out here since we received the 911 call, the great use of the technology that they use in helping to locate these particular children, and we will be happy to reunite these kids back with the parents today. But really want to give an extra kudos to our homicide unit, our special victims unit, as well as our fugitive unit, who's worked all through the night relentlessly until we located these children. Lieutenant Butler.
Good afternoon, Lieutenant Butler. Give some brief details. Like Chief said last night, approximately 10:30, officers were dispatched to what originated as what we thought was a custody dispute. So our special victims unit took lead at that point. Through their investigation, they was determined this was indeed a kidnapping. So we were able to figure out that the female was known to our mother and had gained her trust over some time. Based on that information, homicide was called in and they responded and coordinated with special victims to take over the investigation. We met with them and we were able to secure warrants at that time for our suspect. And during that investigation, we utilized our GBI, federal partnerships with the FBI, and it's really ultimately the internal and external partnership and use of technology that brought this to a close. Through the technology usage, we were able to locate this location at 2001 Sylvan. And while on scene, working with some of the people of the community, we learned about some information about our suspect possibly being in the area. Our fugitive detectives responded to that information, and while they were in the area, they heard the sounds of a baby crying. Based on that exigency, they executed exigent entry into a trailer on the property, and were able to locate the children and our suspect. So right now the children are in good health. They're with Grady, waiting to be transported to a health facility. But so far everything's good. We're having the suspect transported back to headquarters to gather any further information. So once again, a great partnership, a great end to an investigation that began last night and carried on through the night and into today with all our partners, internal and external.
I'm sorry. Questions will start. Michael? Sorry, I couldn't hear boss, but you said that the suspect was found here in a unit?
That's correct. Fugitive was able to apprehend her on scene.
The mother says that there is a couple cases out of Alabama where this mother's known for going online, gaining people's trust. Do you have any information, or do you know if she's suspects in any other case?
So and that's how we got some of the information, which all had to be verified, which takes time. It does show that she was from Alabama, and she had a previous case approximately 5 years ago involving a case of same circumstances. So yeah, that's what kind of led us, and that helped us, our coordination even with Alabama. They were very forthcoming with some information that helped us bring this to a close.
Have you all been in contact with Alabama about why, where her case was standing at the point that she was living in Georgia when she had an open case in Alabama?
We'll have to coordinate with them, but she did have an outstanding warrant for a failure to appear for that case. And as far as what happened with the first case, we don't have the details of that right now.
Good, you got a question? Telemundo?
Yes, do we know any motives behind the abduction?
We're not sure. We're hoping to gain a statement from her when we take her to headquarters. But as of right now, we really don't have a motive for this type of situation.
CBS Atlanta?
So what can you tell us about the point when you actually found the children and located the suspect? Can you tell us any details about what actually transpired during that time?
Yeah, so like I previously stated, they had received some information from somebody on the property about a female staying in a trailer. And that's when our fugitive unit acted on that information. And we're able to hear a baby crying from that trailer. And at that point, they made entry into the trailer and were able to locate the children. So it's on property. It's a private trailer.
In terms of timeline, we've spoken to the mother earlier about that she was last seen with the babysitter or this woman Saturday evening, but you said the 911 call came in yesterday. Can you just talk about kind of the timeline of all of this?
Sure. So it appears that the suspect gained the mother's trust over about a year's time. So the mother, thought that she was leaving their children in the care of somebody she could trust. She'd gone out, and then there was some information that the suspect gave alluding to the fact that she was returning the children, which turned out to be not factual. So that's what led to the delay of the 911 call. But thankfully, once she did call, we no stone unturned, and we leaned on our internal and external partners to bring it to a close. Just the two.
What's your message to any parents just given the situation?
It seems like this is a mother looking for a breakaway just tonight. Trusted somebody she met online. I would just say, depend on family. Make sure you really know the person if they're going to be entrusted with their children. And definitely call 911 when there's something that's not lining up.
The mother told us that the alleged kidnapper told her that they were involved in some type of accident. Did you have a chance to look into that? Did any of that occur at all?
No, that appears to be unfactual as well.
Can you confirm this?
With the suspect, it appears from about 10 p.m. Saturday to now.
Can you speak to what?
So we utilized a lot of cell phone data. That really came into play with our federal partners, and that really helped pinpoint the location and really brought it to a close. So they were helpful with getting on scene very quickly. We utilized Flock. Actually, in this instance, it didn't really help out much, but it did give us a location to better generalize where we needed to be.
The purpose of the ambulance and the fire truck being here,
They're transporting the children to the hospital.
The one that just now came out?
Yes.
All right, thank you. And Lieutenant, can you confirm the suspect's name for us? Is it still Lakeisha Brown?
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And you just heard there from Atlanta police giving an update on the 2 kids who are abducted reportedly by their babysitter. We know that those kids are in good health, which is some great information we're hearing this afternoon. The suspect identified as Lakeisha Brown. So let's go back through a little bit of the notes here from this news conference that we just brought to you live. You are taking a live look at the scene this afternoon. This is on Sylvan Road, and police gave the update in that area. Now, the 2 girls who were reported missing earlier this morning, speaking of 4-year-old Zola Cooper and her 11-month-old sister Nora Cooper, you received that Amber Alert to your phone, and we know that authorities were on the hunt for this babysitter, for this reported babysitter, the suspect in this case. Officers, when they responded to the scene, they said this scene here, you could hear the sounds of the baby crying. Heartbreaking. The female, of course, was known to the mother and gained her trust over time. So can't imagine being in that mother's shoes to trust somebody with your kids and for this to happen and unfold. Now, we do know that the suspect, again, her name is Lakeisha Brown. We don't have any pictures, any mugshots of her just yet. We do know that she had some cases tied to Jefferson County, Alabama, back in 2021. And there was a kidnapping case, different case from this one. And then she also had some outstanding warrants for failure to appear in court in Alabama, according to Atlanta police. Right now, officials do not have a motive here, but they did secure some warrants for the suspect. And as you just heard, Atlanta police praised the officers for working through the night and using technology to locate these kids in this area. Again, this is Sylvan Road, and you see a woman there on your screen carrying a baby believed to be the 11-month-old. So these kids are being taken to the hospital in good health. The suspect will be taken to the headquarters so that officials can continue their investigation and get more information on why this happened. And again, the suspect had a similar case in Alabama. Not sure of the motive there, but hopefully we can get some more information from officials today and in the coming days on a motive here. You're taking a look at the scene on Sylvan Road. Again, the 2 girls who were reported missing, 4-year-old Zola Cooper and 11-month-old Nora Cooper, have been found safe. They're being taken to the hospital, and they are in good health, according to Atlanta police. Our time is 1:47. We're back with more news right after this. Welcome back to this news conversation here on Fox Local. I'm Jasmine Cornell. Some good news to report for residents of the Metro Atlanta area. A new $6.7 million project development breaking ground in Vine City, bringing 18 affordable homes to the site that sat vacant and blighted for years. Our Eli Jordan gives us an inside look.
Hey, good afternoon. Yes, this property here at 280 James Brawley Drive in Vine City has been a blight and sat vacant for many, many years. Today, though, it's going to change. Groundbreaking happened with city leaders, the mayor, District 3 Councilman Byron Amos, and the Westside Future Fund, their first ground-up project. Now, the Westside Future Fund is a grassroots effort to revitalize the community, especially here in Vine City. Their motto is restoration without relocation. They want to keep legacy families in the neighborhoods where they've lived all their lives, have people living here that work here and play here and go to school here. Now, the Westside Future Fund is planning to develop an 18-unit multi-story development, $6.7 million. Now, this is all part of the fund's plan to convert vacant, blighted land into affordable housing, which allows legacy residents to remain. Now, the mayor seems to be very happy with this, and so does District 3 Councilman Byron Amos. Here's what they had to say.
This is again a part of our neighborhood reinvestment initiative because the families who stayed here and raised their children here, man, they kept believing in this neighborhood. They deserve to experience the very best that Atlanta has to offer. So the neighborhood reinvestment is our commitment to making sure they do. This is also supported by our tax allocation district support that you guys are going to be getting to be able to help make this happen as we've used throughout this corridor, the Westside Tan. So congratulations, Vine City. I look forward to coming back when these 18 families get their keys.
This isn't just a project. It is a promise to invest in a neighborhood that has poured its heart into the city, often without receiving enough in return. But these future homes will stand as a source of strength for our families and our teachers who hold this community together every single day. With the units between 30 and 80 AMI, we are saying loud and clear, you deserve to live where you work, where you teach, where your children play, and where your dreams are rooted.
Now, again, this is a $6.7 million project, and they aim to have this thing completed in the middle of next year. Back to you guys.
All right, Eli, thanks for giving us an update on that project there. Looking to see that as it continues to be built. I want to take you out live to something happening nationally. That is something great that we can do here on the stream. We bring you events live as they're happening. We know that President Trump is speaking at the Oval Office, and I believe that he is honoring a lifeguard for some heroic action. So let's take a listen to what he's saying here this afternoon.
So will you be doing it? You help so much with Ryder. Will you be doing it as a profession, or will you be doing other things later?
So I'm actually a full-time firefighter paramedic with the fire department in California, and I've stayed on the books with State Parks because I owe this program a lot, and it's done a lot for me.
Oh, that's great.
I love being here helping train people like Ryder, so I plan on staying around for a long time.
That's great. Good job. That's fantastic. Yeah, please.
Are you policy question, Mr. President?
Go ahead.
There's a lot of debate right now about these license plate scanners that are going up across the country. They're called flock cameras. People are worried that the police might misuse them. Have you heard of them?
Yeah.
What's your stance?
Well, it's being studied right now. You know, you have pros and cons, right? It's being studied right now. We'll have an answer sort of as to our views on it over the next couple of weeks.
Mr. President, yesterday John Ossoff said you'd rather travel with your aide, Natalie Harp, and build the ballroom than do your job as president. What is your response, John Ossoff?
You mean Pee Wee Herman? Pee Wee Herman lookalike? No, I would much rather do other things. We're building a great facility here. We're fixing a White House that hasn't been taken care of. You can look at this. This room was a disgraceful situation, the Oval Office, and it was let go. The whole building, the White House, was let go. The exteriors were falling apart. The columns were falling apart. The whole place was a mess. In addition, they've been trying to get a ballroom for the last 150 years. And when I said I was going to build a ballroom, the military asked if they could see me. And they say, sir, we have an opportunity to go down deep into the ground and build a military facility to go to the White House and to go with all of
Okay, you're taking a listen to the president there speaking with, we believe, some lifeguards, honoring a heroic lifeguard. This is a live look here of him at the Oval Office. I do want to get to another story that broke overnight. Actress Hayden Panettiere has died at the young age of 36. If you've seen Bring It On, Nashville, Heroes, you know who I'm talking about. That's her on your screen. So she died Sunday, a day after departing from Los Angeles on a plane with Brian Hickerson. This is according to TMZ. The cause of her death has not been released at this time, but she's been very vocal about some of the struggles that she's had. We know that her father also released a statement, and officials have released a little bit of details from the preliminary investigation into her death. They say they have found no signs of foul play or suspicious circumstances, and they arrived to the Judson Mill Lofts apartments in Greenville, South Carolina, shortly before 2 p.m. yesterday. Life-saving measures were performed, but she was pronounced dead at the scene. Police say an acquaintance of the 36-year-old actress called 911 from the apartment complex, but no cause of death, again, has been provided just yet. The Greenville County Coroner's Office will investigate and perform an autopsy. And, of course, we'll keep you updated on this story here on Fox Local and on our news shows, our broadcast shows, Fox 5 Atlanta. Our time here is 1:56. Thanks so much for joining us here on Fox Local, joining our news conversation. Our news continues right at 2.
Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for being live with us here during the 2 o'clock hour. Let's continue on here and talk about some of the stories we're calling newsroom. Specifically, I want to let you know that we are having these two little girls. These two little girls have been found by Atlanta police. We just finished up a news conference here in the past little bit where police were able to explain how they found these girls and the nature of the investigation. Now let's talk through some of the details in case you're just joining us. Ultimately, police say last night around 10:30 p.m. they went out to what they thought was a custody dispute, quickly realizing that that was not the case, and instead they were dealing with the kidnapping of these two little girls reportedly abducted by their babysitter. Atlanta police say they coordinated with their special victims unit, federal partnerships, and because of their use of technology and partnerships with the FBI and others, they were able to find out where these girls were being held. They say in the 2000 block of Sylvan Avenue in Southwest Atlanta, and while on scene, they learned about the suspect potentially being in the area. They were able to talk to witnesses and others, and that clued them in on the situation. You can see the area that we're speaking about. Our Skyfox 5 flew over this area and was able to capture the little girls being rescued by first responders. Ultimately, officers heard the sounds of a baby crying and entered a trailer on the property, and that is when they say they found the two little girls who were missing. They are in good health, headed to Grady Memorial Hospital, and Atlanta police say the fugitive task force arrested the babysitter who is the suspect in this. She's being transported to headquarters for an interview, and as we get more information about a motive, we will continue to let you know what that motive might be. There's a lot of misinformation online, a lot of rumors surrounding this case, and ultimately I want to let you know that police say this babysitter gained the mom's trust over a few months' time. They say that because of this, the mother thought that she was leaving her kids with someone safe, and unfortunately that was not the situation. Ultimately, Atlanta police also say that they were able to find out a little bit more on this case, and they're continuing to dig into it. I'd like to let you listen to the news conference that just wrapped up a little bit ago.
Give some brief details. Like Chief said last night, approximately 10:30, officers were dispatched to what originated as what we thought was a custody dispute. So our special victims unit took lead at that point. Through their investigation, they was determined this was indeed a kidnapping. So we were able to figure out that the female was known to our mother and had gained her trust over some time. Based on that information, homicide was called in and they responded and coordinated with special victims to take over the investigation. We met with them and we were able to secure warrants at that time for our suspect. And during that investigation, we utilized our GBI, federal partnerships with the FBI, and it's really ultimately the internal and external partnership and use of technology that brought this to a close. Through the technology usage, we were able to locate this location at 2001 Sylvan. And while on scene, working with some of the people of the community, we learned about some information about our suspect possibly being in the area. Our fugitive detectives responded to that information, and while they were in the area, they heard the sounds of a baby crying. Based on that exigency, they executed exigent entry into a trailer on the property, and were able to locate the children and our suspect. So right now, the children are in good health. They're with Grady, waiting to be transported to a health facility. But so far, everything's good. We're having the suspect transported back to headquarters to gather any further information. So once again, a great partnership, a great end to an investigation that began last night and carried on through the night and into today with all our partners, internal and external.
I'm sorry, questions will start. Michael?
Sorry, I couldn't hear boss, but you said that the suspect was found here in a unit?
That's correct. Fugitive was able to apprehend her on scene.
The mother says that there is a couple cases out of Alabama where this mother's known for going online, gaining people's trust. Do you have any information, or do you know if she's suspects in any other case?
So and that's how we got some of the information, which all had to be verified, which takes time. It does show that she was from Alabama. And she had a previous case approximately 5 years ago involving a case of same circumstances. So yeah, that's what kind of led us, and that helped us, our coordination even with Alabama. They were very forthcoming with some information that helped us bring this to a close.
Have you all been in contact with Alabama about why, where her case was standing at the point that she was living in Georgia when she had an open case in Alabama?
We'll have to coordinate with them, but she did have an outstanding warrant for a failure to appear for that case. And as far as what happened with the first case, we don't have the details of that right now.
But you got a question? Telemundo?
Yes. Do we know any motives behind the abduction?
We're not sure. We're hoping to gain a statement from her when we take her to headquarters. But as of right now, we really don't have a motive for this type of situation.
CBS Atlanta?
So what can you tell us about the point when you actually found the children and located the suspect? Can you tell us any details about what actually transpired during that time?
Yeah, so like I previously stated, they were actually received some information from somebody on the property about a female staying in a trailer. And that's when our fugitive unit acted on that information. And we're able to hear a baby crying from that trailer. And at that point, they made entry into the trailer and were able to locate the children. So it's on property. It's a private trailer.
Okay, so you heard from a lead investigator from Atlanta Police as to how this case unfolded. They have arrested the babysitter, Lakeisha Brown, in connection with the case, and she has been taken to the Atlanta Police Department headquarters where, like you heard, they plan to investigate and question her about this alleged kidnapping. Now, I'd like to get out to Fox 5's Ray Urena, who was live during this news conference gathering information. Ray, what are some big questions still outstanding in your mind as you're covering this?
Well, one of the main ones that police actually addressed in the news conference, Ariel, is the timing around when these kids were with the babysitter, not with the babysitter, because Lieutenant Christopher Butler, who you just heard from there, he says that the kids have been with the babysitter since about 10 o'clock on Saturday, but they say that police did not get the 911 call until 10:30 last night. So these kids have been with the babysitter for about a day before the mom called police, hence their domestic dispute. That's kind of that kidnapping sort of situation that they were able to work out of. Atlanta police notified the media via email at about 5:30 this morning about these critically missing children. But I talked to the mother earlier today, and she says that the police have been working as fast as they could. She, in her own words, said that they've been very helpful as far as getting the alerts out to the public, but there's still a discrepancy of a few hours as to when this was reported missing and when Atlanta police actually let the media know and put out the Amber Alert about these missing children. We don't know exactly what vehicle these kids were found. We found them, it was a trailer here on the property, but during that news conference, we actually saw the ambulance that these two children were in. We actually saw them drive behind our cameras and actually head towards Grady. So that's where the children are now. And it remains unknown right now, Ariel, exactly what charges Lakeisha Brown will be facing in connection to this. I did pull some of her Alabama court records in between the noon hour and now, and it does appear, like Christopher Butler said, she had that outstanding warrant for missing an appearance. It turns out that warrant stems from a May 18th court appearance according to an order that we have on file. So we're going to look into that. I do have a call into the Jefferson Bessemer District Attorney's office in Alabama, and I'm waiting to call back on exactly what's going on with their case. So we'll let you know as soon as we get that.
Ray, thank you so much for letting us know all of the avenues you're digging into. I know there's been so many questions surrounding this case, and that timeline is important because the kids were with the babysitter for overnight, and at first that was not a concern because it was planned that they would be spending some time with the babysitter, but then when she ultimately did not bring the children back, of course the mother got incredibly worried. So hopefully you're able to get more details from police regarding the situation in Alabama and this similar case that she's allegedly connected to. Very scary situation. I'm glad that these two little girls were found safe. Ray, thank you so much for joining us live. I'll let you get back to it. We'll see you again later this evening. One more thing to note, you guys, is just that Atlanta police did say that ultimately cell phone data was so key in finding this suspect and tracking these movements. They say that flock cameras actually didn't play a big role in uncovering this case. So just something interesting to note as they used the technology at their fingertips. But let's continue on with the news of the day that we're following here in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. If you continue to have questions on this story or any other, I will let you know what answers we're able to get for you. So feel free to drop them in our chat, TikTok, YouTube. And in the meantime, I want to get out live as federal authorities are announcing the arrest of an alleged massive Ponzi scheme organizer. Let's dip in and listen to what they have to say.
$8.6 billion to investment scams, a 52% increase in complaints from just the year before. We ask everyone out there to please carefully research before investing in anything. Recognize the promise of things too good to be true, they probably are. Another sign, acting fast to take advantage of an opportunity or claims of a sure or guaranteed bet are usually indicators of a potential scheme. We urge potential investors to take a beat, to slow down, talk to someone you trust. That pause could save you your life savings. If you believe you are being scammed, please report the issue to the FBI through the Internet Crime Complaint Center at ic3.gov. For this specific investigation, we've set up a website for anyone who's been a victim in this potential case to report, and that website is fbi.gov/the crypto program. If you can go there and file your information, it'd be very helpful in our case. This case is yet another example of victims suffering while the perpetrator has lived a good life using their money. Those who downplay the impact of white-collar crime have never spoke to a victim who's lost not only their life savings, but also their friendships, family, health, community status, future dreams, and in some instances, in the cases we worked, they've lost their lives. The FBI, however, as we have in this case, will never stop pursuing justice for victims of fraud. From the beaches of South Pacific, Mr. Zimbardi will now face the charges brought against him, no matter how hard he sought to keep living the good life and hide from the FBI. I'm here for any questions. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
How is he advertising these promises to the victims?
So initially he had word of mouth, and then he had a website for the crypto program, and then a subsequent website for an additional name change after authorities started getting on to him called Amesis. So mostly it was web-based. We can go out and sign them for the program, but a lot of it was also recruitment-based, where individuals would receive a commission for helping to go out and recruit people into the program, like most Ponzi schemes. Can I answer?
So the indictment alleges that the scheme was in place between June of 2022 and August of 2023.
Special Agent Sears, we've been tracking him for more than 2 years. We found him to be incredibly brazen, as you say, traveling all over the world, maintaining up until the very end that this is a legitimate investigation. I believe you were there in Fiji. Can you characterize his behavior, his attitude at that point?
Yeah, so the Fijian police, as we had described, had sent him up for deportation and placed him on a plane where myself and other agents covertly followed him back in an escort fashion and arrested him upon LAX. I can tell you for the ride there, he did not know apparently who we were, and when we made it apparent that we're with the FBI and we have a warrant for your arrest, I would say he was humbled by the moment and kind of an individual who realizes at this point he's been captured. So he's very quiet, very humble as he walked up the plane.
And sir, you talked about this, but this is someone you had to track all over the world here.
Okay, guys, you are listening in as federal authorities, the Attorney's Office, AUSA's Office for the Northern District of Georgia, updates on a case that they have unraveled. They say this is a massive Ponzi scheme involving cryptocurrency, and they say that the suspect was captured overseas, deported, and arrested. And we learned more details about this situation today. Our Annie Mapp will be joining us coming up at 3 o'clock to break down some of the specific details of this case. But speaking of Ponzi schemes, let's talk about a Georgia CEO who's been sentenced after authorities say he engaged in a nearly $4 million Ponzi scheme. We're talking about former CEO Todd Burkhalter. He received a maximum 20-year federal prison sentence for running this nearly $400 million Ponzi scheme. The founder and CEO of this Georgia-based financial advisory firm was one thing that investigators say is that he defrauded thousands of investors. He's 55 years old and received the maximum sentence with no parole plus 3 years of supervised release. He was ordered to pay more than $233 million in restitution to victims. And between September of 2020 and June 2024, Burkhalter's company, Drive Planning LLC, defrauded more than 2,000 investors out of approximately $380 million through fake real estate and tax lien investment funds. The company's chief operating officer, David Bradford, was sentenced to 4 years and 3 months in prison in order to pay more than $4 million in restitution. Julie Edwards of Cumming, who served as the company's chief administrative officer, was sentenced to 2 years in prison in order to pay $630,000 in restitution for money laundering. So interesting to note that we're seeing two very different cases, but both dealing with these Ponzi schemes, one being sentenced and another, you just heard, federal authorities announced an arrest and deportation of a suspect in that case. So we'll continue to keep you updated. One thing I do want to briefly let you guys know about here is that earlier today, this was the scene that was unfolding this morning with Atlanta police after what officers say was a mental health call that took a violent turn, at least for the officer. Let's talk about it, because that Atlanta police officer is expected to recover after being shot in the arm while responding to a call involving an armed person. They say this person was experiencing a mental health crisis early this morning. And this unfolded in the 1400 block of Clark Howard Lane in southwest Atlanta around 8:41 a.m. Officers with a Zone 4 day watch responded. And Police Chief Darren Shearbaum says officers had responded to the home multiple times for mental health related calls. The officer who was shot told the chief it was his third time responding to this location. As officers attempted to address the situation, someone opened fire, according to police. A 30-year-old officer was struck in the arm, and other officers were able to get him away from the scene and take him to Grady Memorial Hospital, where he's expected to fully recover. Police took the suspect into custody after the shooting, and ultimately they say that he would be taken back to Atlanta Police Safety Headquarters and face charges in relation to the shooting of that officer. As I'm continuing to take a look here at some of the notes and different things that we're looking at regarding this case, I want to let you know that they believed that this person might have access to a weapon, but had not previously used a gun against an officer. Police Chief Darren Shearbaum says APD handles about 19 mental health calls related to it each day, and this consumes significant police resources. We'll continue to keep you updated as this continues to move forward. As we continue here at 2 o'clock, let's talk about the Douglas County coroner now being suspended. Our Kevin Stewart has been following this case very closely. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us live. You attended a meeting today. What did you learn?
Yeah, Renee Godwin, who has been the coroner here in Douglas County since, I believe, 2018, has been suspended for 6 months. There's been a long investigation over the course of several months by the Georgia Coroner Training Council. They've had several public hearings of allegations of mismanagement, not treating grieving family members well, problems with people being paid allegedly who weren't supposed to be paid, and she has been suspended for 6 months. The interesting thing about this is that the training council, they left today's meeting, which lasted just a little bit. They went into an executive session for an hour, came back, came in with their ruling, and then immediately left. And we tried to ask them, okay, well, what did you substantiate? And I said no comment, and left and said maybe we'll talk at another time. But there have been lots of allegations. You may even recall back in, I believe it was 2019, a grand jury here in Douglas County found problems with the office, some things that were unprofessional, and recommended at the time that she be removed from office by the training council, but they didn't act at that time. So now they have. And we had a chance to talk to a couple people who have been following this very closely, people who believe they've been aggrieved by this office. I want you to take a listen.
I'm thankful that she's going to be put on suspension for the 180 days. However, I felt like she should have been decertified, so I'm just hoping during this time span that maybe a higher agency can step in and maybe evaluate the suspension and hopefully decertify.
I'm sure there's a brotherhood amongst the coroners, but this had to be done, and Renee and Carmen.
All right, now she's referring to Carmen Chandler. That is one of the key deputies here at the coroner's office, a woman who actually, according to testimony during the hearings that we've had a chance to cover, she was actually the one who ran the day-to-day operations, and there were issues there with her background, and so what they have done is they have decertified her. So the coroner has been suspended, but one of her leading deputies has been decertified, meaning she cannot act as a coroner anywhere in the state. Worth noting, you notice the two people who we talked to there. One of them may sound familiar, Kenya Mitchell. Her son, Malachi Mitchell, was killed last year, I believe it was. His body found in a car by a deputy, and what the DA's office determined was that was self-defense when he was shot and killed by a person who was trying to buy a gun. And so the mom has had problems with that autopsy, and what she's tried to do is try to get an inquest to take another look at that. And her issue is that hasn't happened, and she had problems with that autopsy, and so she's hopeful that now she can take the next step and see what happens next to see if she can get that inquest. Interestingly enough, we have reached out to Douglas County today to find out who's going to be running this office in the interim, but so far we have not heard back, so we're going to keep checking on that one. Ariel?
Yeah, Kevin, coroner is such an important job. I can't imagine that they wouldn't have anyone filling the role, even on a temporary basis. But it really does make you think, because if there was enough here for them to decide a suspension was prudent, it makes you think about all of the other cases that even just we have covered, and there's so many that we haven't, right, that people might want another look. They want answers, they want justice, and just the idea that, unfortunately, the idea that one thing could be tarnished spreads, then lets doubt creep in on a whole bunch of other cases.
Yeah, that's what's so tough about this, we'd like to know exactly what were the problems that they found, because there are a lot of allegations, but what exactly were the findings that led to this suspension? And because we do not know, that certainly is going to cause a lot of concern, because as we've reported in the past, these are allegations. The two women that we talked to there, their concerns there, but doesn't necessarily mean that their cases, if the concerns that they have, would it flip those cases? We don't know for certain, but obviously when you have problems in an office, when things are not being done correctly, it raises a lot of concerns, obviously.
Well, Kevin, no doubt you'll stay on top of this story like you have been for quite some time. Thank you for joining us live. I know we'll see you again later this evening with the latest. We'll let Kevin Stewart get back to gathering information. In the meantime, you guys, I do want to let you know that an Atlanta committee, specifically the Atlanta Utilities Committee, has approved a data center task force. What is this task force going to do, you might ask? Well, let's get into it. They're taking a look at how the rapid growth of data centers could affect residents, utilities, and our neighborhoods. This would be a 23-member task force that's going to study the potential impacts of data centers here in Atlanta. They're going to look at electricity and water costs, water supply, noise levels, electrical grid capacity, and impacts on surrounding neighborhoods. They're also going to look at national and global best practices for data center development to understand what could be the best way that they're put here in the metro Atlanta area. Now, keep in mind, the facilities can require significant amounts of resources and energy. Water consumption varies depending on the cooling systems used. Critics have raised concerns about noise and land use and environmental effects. And several metro Atlanta governments have already temporarily halted approvals for new data centers as officials are reviewing some of those regulations. So we'll continue to keep you updated as this moves forward. Really quickly, you guys, I do want to go back to one of our top stories here. I see a lot of conversation here in our chat on TikTok and on YouTube. And if you're just joining us here on Fox Local, welcome. Let's quickly get you an update on a story that we broke here at the top of 2 o'clock, or that we were following closely, involving 2 young girls who have been found safely. They were abducted, according to police, by their babysitter. That babysitter is now in custody. And we had video of the 2 little girls being rescued from their ambulance, or rather being brought to their ambulance by first responders. And so that is something that our chopper was able to get just a little bit ago. As they walked through the area and were able to get those girls to Grady Memorial Hospital. Police do say that they are okay and that they will be undergoing further evaluations. Now, keep in mind, police are investigating whether or not this babysitter could be tied to a similar case out of Alabama 5 years ago. Police did say today during a news conference that this may not be the first time that this babysitter has been involved in a similar situation. So we will keep you updated as that continues to move through. The babysitter's name is Lakeisha Brown. She is at Atlanta Police Safety Headquarters, where she will undergo an interview as police try to ascertain a motive as to how all of this unfolded. So police did issue one warning, which was just to say that you have to be careful of knowing who you leave your kids with. They did not blame this mother. They say that the babysitter gained the mother's trust over a period of time, and that's why the mother felt comfortable to leave her kids with them. The kids were supposed to be with the babysitter overnight, and when the babysitter did not return them last night, that's when the mother called police and said they worked tirelessly to get her kids back. We'll continue to keep you updated on this case. In the meantime, we're going to bring you back here for a check of your weather forecast with meteorologist Alex Forbes coming up. Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt here with meteorologist Alex Forbes, and you're looking at a massive pipeline tank farm fire south of Tulsa in Oklahoma. Alex, I understand lightning struck this pipeline plant, if you will, and that's why we're seeing this.
Yeah, and look at the bottom of your screen right there. There are houses literally right up on this. This is from a thunderstorm that came through earlier this morning, and that's one lightning strike, like likely the cause of all of this. Obviously, you see 2 plumes of smoke there, and this is the black smoke. This is clearly the natural gas burning in this instance, and so this is something that we don't necessarily deal with as a threat here in North Georgia because we don't have a lot of natural gas above ground. However, there are a couple of instances, and I don't remember this happening before. It's entirely possible that it has, and I just haven't seen it before, but this is live, ongoing right now in Oklahoma. You saw Fox 5 Live Viper next to it. They had storms roll through earlier this morning, and they were severe warns, and things are beginning to move on now over into the Arkansas area. So let's take things back closer to home and come back to Georgia. 96 is where we stand in Atlanta right now. You got 97 over in Covington. 99 is our actual air temperature there in Eatonton. Let's get over to the heat index values. 104, 106, 108. A scorcher of an afternoon, no doubt. Something that we will have to help things out are showers and storms. But before then, we are going to be looking at these heat index values continuing 105 to 110. But let's talk about these showers and storms because we got an update to the Storm Prediction Center outlook from when we last spoke. A level 2 has been extended further south in towards North Georgia. This now comes as far south as Rome, Canton, really just north of the Lake Lanier area and up towards Toccoa. A severe thunderstorm watch is going to be issued for multiple North Georgia counties here momentarily. And when that happens, we'll bring it to you here on Fox Local. Now, part of the reason for the upgrade is an upgrade in the wind risk, all right? That red you see there is relatively rare. We don't see that very often. So if you're up in Chattooga County, Dalton over towards Fannin County and Gilmer County, keep an eye out on these storms this evening. I'm thinking from about 5 to midnight is going to be our timing across North Georgia. Note that not everybody is going to see rain. In fact, down into the metro, the rain chance is very low, and then we will be quieting down into tomorrow. So temperatures not as hot towards the weekend, but I don't know about you. I still think 91 is not great. 92 for Sunday, a 30% chance of showers and storms back in the picture for Friday and Saturday.
Okay, good to know, Alex. It is so warm outside. It's funny. I was looking down at some of our comments from our viewers, and with this heat index, I know you guys are used to it, but it is just...
It doesn't make it good.
No,
right?
It doesn't. It doesn't. So thank you. Yep. We will stay tuned for more on that thunderstorm warning. You said watch. Yep. Got it. Perfect. Alex, thank you. Guys, as we continue here, you're taking a live look at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Clear skies at the moment, or at least some sunshine at the moment. But we'll be staying tuned to Alex for further updates. Speaking of storms, let's talk now about what's unfolding in Indiana. We understand deadly storms now have killed 7. Floodwaters are receding in Indianapolis, but leaving behind damage in its wake. At least 7 people have died after days of storms. And a spokesperson for the State Department of Homeland Security says a 4-year-old boy, 3 men and 3 women are among those who have died since the storms started. This has caused record-setting flooding, according to the Indianapolis Department of Public Works. Flooding from the White River Peak, surpassing records set in 1913. Residents returned to flood-damaged neighborhoods where they left in a hurry and have seen debris just floating around. We saw heavy rains hammering Indiana over the past week, and officials have warned that serious dangers still exist in the recovery phase because there are a lot of hazards that exist beneath those floodwaters. Emergency shelters are still open, trying to get food, water, and clothes to those who have lost everything. And President Trump has approved Indiana's request for federal disaster assistance. Let's turn our attention now to the killing trial, or rather the man accused of killing Tupac Shakur. This is something that a lot of you have continued to talk about today, and as opening statements have just begun this morning, and no doubt last week as jury selection was underway. We understand that Dwan Keith Davis, who was indicted in 2023 on 1 count of murder with a deadly weapon and Tupac Shakur's death, has entered a not guilty plea. If convicted, he faces up to life in prison. He is 63 years old, and prosecutors do not claim Davis fired the deadly shots that killed Shakur, who was 25 years old at the time, but instead allege he orchestrated the killing in retaliation for an assault on his nephew. This is a 3 decades old case, and September marks the 30th anniversary of Shakur's death. The night of the deadly shooting, he was in a car with former Death Row Records CEO Marion Knight when a white Cadillac with 2 or 3 men inside pulled up beside them and fired shots into the passenger side of their car. That's what investigators said at the time. And as opening statements have got underway, we're going to see the arguments of both sides. We're also going to see the witnesses that each side is expecting to call forward. We understand that the prosecution has an incredibly lengthy witness list. Now, maybe not all of them will ultimately be called, but at least 30 different names have been on that list. So, and that is something to keep in mind. This trial is expected to last up to 5 weeks, and we will keep you updated as it continues forward. In the meantime, you guys, coming up next, I want to get you a check of some stories we're following here in the newsroom. We're going to talk about the latest regarding a new facility that's opening in North Georgia to help people with the skilled trades and get them connected to jobs. We're going to talk about it straight ahead. Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for being here. If you're looking for a job, something that does seem to bear a lot of, I guess, job security, if you will, these days are the skilled trades. And our Chris Rosenthal went out to go speak to those at the Universal Technical Institute in Smyrna, where I understand, Chris, a massive new facility is just opened. And I know there's a lot of talk about AI proofing your career and finding something that will stand the test of time. It seems skilled trades is really upping itself in that conversation, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. These are jobs that are pretty much AI proof. I think a lot of people are scared about AI, what's that's going to do to your careers. And yeah, the skilled trades, electrical, HVAC, aviation, all those different things are options out there. And I'm at Universal Technical Institute here in Smyrna. They have a 115,000 square foot facility that they just opened up, have the first classes in July. And I'm actually one of those classes, the electrical class here, and I have Rich Iser here. He is with the school. And first of all, tell me a little bit about what we're looking at here with these students.
Yeah, so this is one of the first classes our students take in our electrical suite. So there's 3 different things that they can get into, whether it's our industrial maintenance technology, low voltage technology, or robotics and automation technology. But they all start in the same place. So they're learning how to build sawhorses, learning how tape measure works, about angles and just how to build things. So
you built this one, huh? Good work. So. But yeah, that's kind of the starting point, the starting ground there, and you work your way up. There's a lot of different options here. I mean, talk to me about skilled trades. Why are skilled trades so important and so attractive now?
Yeah, so skilled trades, we have a lot of different areas you can get into. We have our HVACR program. We have aviation, so our aviation maintenance, airframe and power plant technicians, and welding. So that's this half of the building. Everything here is very much in demand, right? So anything that you're going to be using your hands to build things, to fix things, to diagnose things, those are the pieces that people need to be able to know how to do. And we're seeing a lot of people retiring, a lot of older people are leaving the field, and there's not enough people to take their places. So that's why the demand is so high.
Yeah, and you're getting, I think, a good indicator that you're getting a lot of employers, and there's a lot of, skilled labor employers in the area. You're getting a lot of them approaching you, huh?
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty much almost every day we're having some new employer coming in wanting to take a tour. I've probably done, I'd say, at least 6 or 7 tours just in the last month from employers coming in wanting to see our facility and that are interested in hiring our students.
Yeah, they're asking about employees because they need them, huh?
Yes. Yes.
The AI proof. These jobs, are they pretty secure in that way?
100%. So AI in these fields, they may help you a little bit when it comes to diagnostics or maybe how to find a part. That's where AI can be helpful. But AI can't go into your attic and replace the condenser, the compressors, all the different pieces that are in your HVAC unit. They can't go in and put the refrigerant in the system. They can't weld the pieces together. They can't fix the electrical in your house. You still need a person to go in and do that, and you have to have that skill set.
Yeah, you'll always need a real person for that. Who is this for? Is this for high school kids looking for the next step? Is this for people looking to pivot careers?
Yeah, it's really for everybody. I would say the bulk of our students is that kind of 18 to 25 range, but we see a lot of people that are job transitioning. We have a lot of people that come out of the military that come into this. Really, it's anybody. Anybody can do this that wants to get out, work with their hands, and have a job that really you can't take away from you. So
gotcha. And plenty of space for classes here, huh? For people to sign up.
Yes, and we start every 3 to 6 weeks depending on the program. So if you're ready to get started, we're ready to have you.
Awesome. Well, right here at Universal Technical Institute in Smyrna, this is the HVAC section here. A little earlier, I was in the automotive section, automotive, diesel, big, huge area there as well. This is just a small fraction of this building. Welding as well, they have that too. So lots of different options in the skilled trades here, and this is where you can start if you want to enter and get into it.
Chris, this is wonderful. I love that all of this is available for those looking for more information, another resource in our community to get people connected to jobs. We'll see you again here upcoming at 3 o'clock, but the automotive side, the welding side, I mean, it's incredible that they have so many different areas for you to learn new skills. So Chris Rosenthal, thanks so much for this sneak peek. We appreciate it. As we continue on here, you guys, let's switch gears and unpack the Braves' weekend performance against the Arizona Diamondbacks. And we have, let's bring in Locked On Braves podcast host, Jake Mastriani. Jake, lovely to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Okay, so Jake, first question. I'm just going to ask you overall, what are your thoughts about the series this weekend? How do you feel like the Braves' performance went? What was your initial takeaway?
Obviously a series loss, so that's not what you want, the outcome that you want, especially when you're facing a postseason team in the Arizona Diamondbacks. You want to see how you're going to fare against somebody you might face in a couple of months in the postseason, so would like to do a little bit better there. So certainly weren't able to get the job done, and Matt Olson kind of saved the day there on Sunday. I think my biggest issue, and what I talked about on the latest episode of Locked On Braves, is the issue or the struggle with the offense against starting pitchers in general. Early in games just have not been able to produce enough runs. You look at the past 14 starts against them, 9 of them have been quality starts. So they're allowing pitchers to go deep into games and not able to knock them out and put up those big numbers early. Now, on the flip side, as we saw with Matt Olson on Sunday, they've done a great job late in games against the bullpen. But those struggles early on against starters have really held them back, I think, in this stretch they've been on.
Matt Olson truly the MVP. I feel like if we didn't have that this weekend, it just, what you said, you know, best when you first started here, just as we started our conversation, like losing is never a great way to end. And then the fact that you have that bright spot, do you feel like that was kind of a salvager, if you will, or just something that at least like we had that aspect to look forward to?
Definitely was a big momentum swing in the game because you were winning it twice and then the Diamondbacks fought back to tie it up. And with the way the first two games had gone, obviously momentum was not on your side. But for Matt Olson to come through with that big swing and a 3-0 count too, way ahead in the count, but had the confidence to be able to swing there that if he got the pitch he was looking for, he was going to be able to do damage. And he absolutely did. And Matt Olson, I mean, he has been the MVP of the Braves this year. He has been clutch for them all season long. Of course, he's the Iron Man in baseball right now. He shows up every day, but not just that, he's been so consistent for them all year long as well and producing at the top of the order.
Jake, I'm curious, do you feel like the Braves have a bit of a closer problem with Rafael Iglesias unable to pitch that clean ninth inning event? Even though he still got the save, you were speaking a little bit about some of the what you felt about the pitching performance. What's your take there?
Yeah, it is a bit worrisome for Iglesias. I mean, every pitcher has ups and downs throughout a season, and Rafael Iglesias is not immune to that. So it could just be the fact that he's going through a little bit of a rough stretch here over the last 3 weeks or so. I'm not at the point to panic on him or to remove him from the closer spot. Maybe if you had Robert Suarez available and he were healthy, that you could maybe insert him into that closer's role somewhere, something that he's very comfortable doing, and maybe move Iglesias back to the 8th inning or 7th inning like the Braves did last year when Iglesias was struggling early on. But without Suarez right now, I do think the stuff from Iggy is still good enough. You just kind of ride it out. You're going to need him in the end either way, so you want to definitely make sure that you can get him right before the postseason.
As a final question here for you, Jake, as we continue to talk and take a live look out over Truist Park, curious, based on the teams that are coming up next and where the Braves are headed, do you have any specific concerns? What are you looking at?
As I said, they're in a stretch right now. They faced the Yankees last weekend. They faced the Diamondbacks this weekend. Those are two postseason contending teams. Now you're about to face the Twins, who are in postseason contention. They're on the outside looking in right now. And then you got a makeup game with the White Sox. And then you got 3 at Milwaukee against the Brewers, who obviously have the best record in the National League. Just won a series against the Dodgers. Then you come back home and you face the Dodgers. And then to start the month of September, you have 7 games in the first 2 weeks against the Phillies. So this is a very important road trip for the Atlanta Braves because of the schedule that you have upcoming. You want to make sure you try to maintain that big division lead over the Phillies, because those first 2 weeks in September, that's ultimately what's going to decide the NL East, with the Braves and the Phillies facing off so much. So you want to make sure you survive what's going to be a very tough week and a difficult road trip for the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, a lot of tough matches coming up, and this is something we'll continue to follow. So Jake, thank you so much for joining us. I've enjoyed our conversation and look forward to chatting with you again. All things Braves.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me again.
All right, come on, guys. We are going to switch gears here. You're taking a live look out over Brookhaven, but we want to get an update because meteorologist Alex Forbes just waved me down as he came back over here to our set to let me know he has an update weather-wise with some of the storms that he's tracking. So, Alex, what's the update?
Yeah, so a severe thunderstorm watch has just been issued for parts of our area. It does not include Metro Atlanta, but immediately north of the Metro is as far south as it comes. So this is going to be picking up in Dade and Chattooga counties and then going up across Ellijay, Blue Ridge, Jasper, Dawson County, Dahlonega over towards Blairsville, Towns County, Rabun, and Habersham County, and it goes until 10 this evening. So not a crazy severe weather day, but there is an elevated wind threat in all of this. I'm going to show you that real quick. And you see that from really Chattooga County up in towards Fannin County. We'll be watching that wind risk relatively closely. The storms right now are up into Tennessee, not so much in our neck of the woods, but we'll be tracking them here through the afternoon hours on Fox 5.
Okay, Alex, thanks for joining us with this update. It seems like this watch is confined more to our northern counties.
Yes.
But if that were to change, I know you will come right back with an update. So thank you. Guys, let's continue here as you take a live look out over Brookhaven. I want to talk about what we're learning regarding a Waffle House worker, because this is making the rounds on social media. Seen a lot of questions about this because you might remember this man went viral for a song on social media, and now he says he was fired from Waffle House after rapping a song about Waffle House itself. The employee is known as Rockstar Riley, and he recorded a song about Waffle House and filmed a music video inside of one of the chain's kitchens. The videos attracted thousands of views online, and Riley told TMZ he reported for his shift Friday at a Waffle House location in Sandy Springs and was fired. According to TMZ, Riley had previously been told to delete social media posts that showed him wearing his Waffle House uniform. TMZ reported that Riley refused and continued creating content before the company terminated his employment. Take a listen to some of what he had to say.
I'm not gonna lie, if that opportunity came, I would love to do it, hands down. I love Waffle House. Like that's my thing. That was my very first job when I was a kid. So I have a whole tape put together specifically for Waffle House.
So he's speaking about how he would love to do a commercial with the company. You know, if you've seen his video online, that's been one of the top comments that posters have had to say is that Waffle House should sponsor him, collab with him, or post a commercial with him. But at the time, you know, Waffle House has not responded to TMZ's request for comment about Riley's firing. So as soon as we were to get any comment formally from Waffle House, we'll let you guys know. But based on what we understand here, it seems like they didn't want him acting as an official spokesperson for the company without their approval. Let's talk about a sad situation that we continue to follow here in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. In case you've not heard this news, actress Hayden Panettiere has been found dead at 36. Her representative confirms that she has died. Her father, Skip Panettiere, released a statement to ABC News saying, quote, "It is with profound sadness that we share the tragic passing of our beloved Hayden." The actress got her start as a child star in the early 2000s. She was known for her roles as Claire Bennett on the series Heroes and as Juliette Barnes in the show Nashville. She was also in Ice Princess, a movie with Michelle Trachtenberg, and she released a memoir this past May titled "This Is Me, A Reckoning." Panettiere was very open and vocal about her struggles with substance abuse and the mental health issues she's faced as a result of becoming famous so early. The 2000s were undoubtedly a different place for child stars than perhaps now with some of the protections that have since been enacted. But she's talked a lot about her struggles and what she faced, and further details surrounding her death are not immediately available at this time. But we'll continue to keep you updated as we learn any new information. Let's continue along here with a story that we're learning about from our Supreme Court. This is something that just came into our newsroom before I joined you here at 2 o'clock. The Supreme Court has denied President Trump's request to throw out the E. Jean Carroll $5 million civil judgment. So Trump's lawyers had asked the justices if they would reconsider hearing his appeal. The court denied their request and several other petitions from the president as well. A jury in 2023 found that President Trump was liable for sexual abuse and for defaming the writer. Trump was ordered to pay $5 million in the case, which he did last month. And Trump's team has also asked the court to toss out another verdict relating to Carroll that amounted to $83 million. The president has denied any wrongdoing. Speaking of the Supreme Court, let's talk about the latest regarding the White House ballroom fight, because the Trump administration is now asking the Supreme Court to allow the White House to continue its ballroom construction. This as it appeals a lower court's order to halt the work. The administration says the ballroom construction is a matter of security. In their court filing, they rejected an appeals court ruling that they had overstepped their authority by building this project. The president's ballroom has been mired in litigation since work began last October. Construction has moved quickly. The administration says more than 200 crew members are working almost around the clock to get the estimated $400 million endeavor done ahead of schedule. But earlier this month, a federal appeals court issued a split decision saying the president did not have the authority to undertake a project of this magnitude at the White House without first getting permission from Congress. Attorney General Todd Blanche disagrees with that finding.
don't believe we have to go to Congress. We believe Congress has already given us the authority to do what we're doing. Many presidents have done a tremendous amount of work to the White House, as they should, and Congress has authorized them to do so.
Now, the appeals court did allow work underground to continue for security purposes. The administration, though, argues that 65% completion, the project is too intertwined and that adding any changes at this point would derail the integrity of the structure. They say, quote, halting the project will stall this vital construction, making this president the subject of recurrent assassination attempts, much less safe, and risking future presidents' safety, end quote. Notably, one of the dangers they mention is the threat of a missile attack against Air Force One on July 8th. That was the day President Trump took on that extraordinary measure, leaving Turkey on a decoy flight, as advised by the Secret Service. So we'll continue to keep you updated as this moves forward. Chief Justice John Roberts has given the National Trust until Tuesday to respond to the government, and the plaintiffs, the National Trust for Historic Preservation, says that they believe the Trump administration is attempting to outrun the court by accelerating construction of the ballroom. As we continue here at 2 o'clock, you guys, coming up next, we are going to take you to Atlanta's West Side and show you how a formerly blighted and vacant area is being transformed with some affordable housing. That's coming up. Welcome in, everyone. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for hanging out with us here during the 2 o'clock live hour on your Monday afternoon. Let's talk about how a formerly blighted and vacant area in Vine City is being transformed. Our Eli Jordan went out there this morning and shows us how.
Hey, good afternoon. Yes, this property here at 280 James Brawley Drive in Vine City has been a blight and sat vacant for many, many years. Today, though, it's going to change. Groundbreaking happened with city leaders, the mayor, District 3 Councilman Byron Amos, and the Westside Future Fund, their first ground-up project. Now, the Westside Future Fund is a grassroots effort to revitalize the community, especially here in Vine City. Their motto is restoration without relocation. They want to keep legacy families in the neighborhoods where they've lived all their lives, have people living here that work here and play here and go to school here. Now, the Westside Future Fund is planning to develop an 18-unit multi-story development, $6.7 million. Now, this is all part of the fund's plan to convert vacant, blighted land into affordable housing, which allows legacy residents to remain. Now, the mayor seems to be very happy with this, and so does District 3 Councilman Byron Amos. Here's what they had to say.
This is again a part of our neighborhood reinvestment initiative because the families who stayed here and raised their children here, man, they kept believing in this neighborhood. They deserve to experience the very best that Atlanta has to offer. So the neighborhood reinvestment is our commitment to making sure they do. This is also supported by our tax allocation district support that you guys are going to be getting to be able to help make this happen as we've used throughout this corridor, the Westside TAN. So congratulations, Vine City. I look forward to coming back when these 18 families get their keys.
This isn't just a project. It is a promise to invest in a neighborhood that has poured its heart into the city, often without receiving enough in return. But these future homes will stand as a source of strength for our families and our teachers who hold this community together every single day. With the units between 30 and 80 AMI, we are saying loud and clear, you deserve to live where you work, where you teach, where your children play, and where your dreams are rooted.
Now, again, this is a $6.7 million project, and they aim to have this thing completed in the middle of next year. Back to you guys.
Eli, thanks for bringing this to our attention and letting us know how the community can benefit. As we continue here, you guys, we have more news to come at 3 o'clock. Tom Haynes is getting ready to take over. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for being live with us.
Good afternoon, everybody. In the middle of another work week, it's Monday afternoon. Thanks so much for streaming with us here on Fox Local for the 3 p.m. streaming hour. I'm your host, Tom Haynes, for the next hour here as we get you caught up on a lot of breaking news happening this afternoon. One of our biggest stories today is a huge sigh of relief for an Atlanta mother after 2 girls were allegedly abducted by their babysitter over the weekend. Let's get out to Fox 5's Ray Arena, who's been on top of this story all afternoon long. Ray, you're at a news conference by authorities. What more are we learning about what happened here?
Well, Tom, here on Sylvan Drive in Southwest Atlanta, this is where everything came to an end this afternoon, specifically 2001 Sylvan Drive at the Gateway South apartment homes. That is where police, with Atlanta police investigators, tell us that they found this suspect, this alleged abductor, Lakeisha Brown living in a private trailer inside of this apartment complex. And police tell us that they were able to use cell phone data and a bit of flock data to be able to pinpoint a general area of where this suspect may have been. And when officers were here on location searching for these two children, which I'm going to put their faces up on the screen now. This is 4-year-old Zola and 11-year-old Nora Cooper. While they were searching for these two children, they ended up hearing a baby crying while investigators were on scene. And officers say, and told us this afternoon, they used that exigent circumstance to get into that trailer where they found not only the suspect, but the two children. They say the two children are in good health. We actually saw them, the ambulance that they were riding in, being driven away towards Grady, by Grady EMS. And that suspect has since been taken into custody and is now being questioned at police headquarters. But a little bit about the timing and everything here as we have video of when officers were overhead. Officers say they got the 911 call last night at 10:30. They responded to what appeared to be initially a custody dispute, which they later ruled into kidnapping. Officers told us this afternoon that the babysitter in this case had the children since 10 o'clock on Saturday, and the delay in them getting the 911 call until 10:30 p.m. last night was because the suspect was apparently giving false info to the mother, alluding to the fact that she was going to bring the kids back. And the mother tells us that she initially met this suspect about a year ago through a mom group that was offering free services for expectant mothers. So that's how they became friends. And over that time, police say that suspect allegedly was able to gain the trust of this mother, and this was the first time that she was babysitting these two children. I do want to play a clip from authorities from that news conference that we just finished not too long ago. Take a listen. You all realized that these two kids were missing?
When she texted me and told me they was hit by a semi-truck, but it was a lie.
Because, what do you mean hit by a semi-truck?
That was she told me. When I first got a response back to her, she told me they was in a car accident, but it wasn't in a car accident because we called all the children's hospitals and the adult hospitals, and they said they wasn't in their system.
And that it was actually Alicia Redding. She is the mother of both Zola and Nora Cooper. Thankfully, both kids are all right, but it shows what this mother had to deal with. She was told by this babysitter that they got into a car accident, and then they checked out all of the area hospitals. The mother called all the area hospitals, and she found out that that was false because they had nobody of their system. We asked police that same question here, and police said that there was no truth to that either. But apparently, this is Lakeisha Brown, the same woman who was the suspect in an abduction of a 4-day-old baby from Jefferson County, Alabama. And police tell us that they do believe that this is the same person. They did say that she had an outstanding warrant for failure to appear. I was able to track down that warrant in Jefferson County in the Bessemer District Attorney's Office, and it appears that she did not show up for a hearing from May 18th of this year. It remains unclear what she was doing here in Georgia while she had that open case in Alabama. There are some other questions that police were trying to figure out from police, but I'm going to send it back to you, Tom.
Yeah, Ray, one would assume that mother had no idea about that outstanding warrant. Some horrifying details about the alleged suspect here. And that video of the children being sort of brought into that ambulance by authorities. Wow, certainly extraordinary. In addition to the reaction of that still shocked mother this afternoon, who's just extraordinarily grateful that her two little girls are okay. Ray Urena reporting for us on top of this story this afternoon in Atlanta. Ray.
Tom, really quick, before you let me go real quick.
Yes, sir.
You said something about the mother not knowing. She said she did not know anything about Lakeisha and her alleged past from 5 years ago in 2021 until she was in the interview room with detectives, and that's when her sister searched up Lakeisha Brown's name, and they found a news article from 5 years ago, and that's how they were able to connect the dots.
Well, I'm sure she was horrified when she discovered that, but when she handed her 2 kids over to this woman, obviously had no idea about her prior arrest. Ray Arena, great reporting this afternoon. Ray, thanks so much. Also in the news here at 3 o'clock and breaking at this hour, we're following some extraordinary live pictures out of Oklahoma. Take a look at the scene there. 3 large gas tanks remain on fire. This is at the Explorer Pipeline tank farm in Glenpool, we understand. This all happening after a lightning strike in the area, setting off this blaze earlier this afternoon. And take a look at the result. When you're dealing with natural gas, all one can do is sit there and let it burn off because of the volume of natural gas inside those 3 tanks. We're told additional resources and equipment have been brought in to battle this fire. Crews there now at the scene preparing for the next phase of this response. But here we're going on 3 o'clock. This thing has been burning for well over 2 hours now as fire crews work to at least contain the area and the surrounding area around where this fire is burning. But again, Glenpool, Oklahoma, 3 gas tanks on fire after an apparent lightning strike out there. Meteorologist Alex Forbes talked about this not too long ago and the weather component of this story and sort of the weather scene in advance of what led up to these lightning strikes. Alex is going to be along here in the next 20 or so minutes to talk about our own forecast, the extraordinary heat outside, and what might have led up to the events out there in Oklahoma as you watch this gas fire still raging out there. No signs of it letting up. You have to trust that fire authorities have the surrounding area secured as they just try to let this thing burn off. Tremendous risk for the firefighters out there as they stage their response to this extraordinary fire. Closer to home, Atlanta leaders taking a closer look at the issue of data centers and the entire industry at large, really. We're talking about data centers, which has been a flashpoint in communities all over the United States. The City Utilities Commission approved a proposal to create 23-member task force to study how these massive facilities impact local communities. The group will examine everything from electricity and water costs to noise, grid capacity, neighborhood impacts, because there's so much we don't know about the impact of data centers in our country. People are very outspoken about them, but digging deeper into the real community aspect is what this commission is being formed to talk about. This comes as surrounding counties like DeKalb, Rockdale, Paulding have all passed moratoriums on new data centers to review their own regulations in those areas. The proposal now moves forward as city officials work to balance economic development with infrastructure demands. Let's talk about residents living near Interstate 85 in Atlanta demanding action after yet another encampment fire. Were you with us here a few years ago when I-85 literally burned to the point where a huge portion of the freeway collapsed, leaving a gaping hole in the freeway, which took weeks and weeks to repair? They repaired it at warp speed. Could have been much worse. But road crews were out there. It was so bad that fire trucks from Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport had to come and respond to that original fire. Not in this case, however. Crews rushed to the Buford Highway connector back on August the 10th after this 40-foot pile of trash caught fire under the highway. This is in the area, if you're familiar with it, where Piedmont Road goes under the Buford Highway connector and sort of that industrial area, the MARTA tracks off to the side there. Local residents say they smell campfires every day. They want the city and state leaders to set up secure infrastructure underneath these bridges. And it's funny because I could have sworn in the wake of that original fire that brought the highway down, that was part of the plan. So listen to what neighbors had to say.
Did you hear about another bridge fire? And it's like, I can't believe it, because you'd think we'd learn our lesson, and for some reason we haven't. I think we just want a solution, right? We want leaders to take accountability and come up with an actual solution and work with the community.
And so they're looking for answers. Both the city and state say that they're working together to address the concerns, but neighbors say they want real accountability and a permanent solution before the next major disaster strikes. Another big story we've been following this afternoon on what is a busy Monday afternoon of news, and that is a big arrest. Annie Mapp is at the U.S. Attorney's Office or nearby this afternoon, where FBI and federal prosecutors held a news conference, Annie, announcing the arrest overseas of this alleged Ponzi scheme organizer. What more do we know about this man?
Hey, Tom, good afternoon. That press conference just wrapped up less than an hour ago, where authorities announced that 59-year-old Edward Zombardi is now back in the United States after fleeing to Fiji for a long time. He is accused in a $165 million cryptocurrency Ponzi scheme. He is in a federal court in Los Angeles today, where he will see a judge and faces wire fraud and money laundering charges. Now, federal prosecutors accuse Zombardi of running the Ponzi scheme called the Crypto Program between June 2022 and August 2023. They say victims who learned about his program online or through word of mouth were promised guaranteed returns of 25% a month if they invested in his advertising packages. Prosecutors say instead of meeting those promises, Zombardi secretly controlled the cryptocurrency wallets where investors sent their money. They say at least 6,000 people around the world invested more than $165 million. They say that the Atlanta U.S. Attorney's Office says Zombardi used more than $34 million of those dollars for risky foreign currency trades and spent at least $10 million on personal expenses that included a house for his son, luxury cars, and also alimony payments. And now, after this scheme collapsed in 2023, the authorities accuse him of fleeing the country and eventually living in Fiji for more than a year. Take a listen to what authorities said.
Ponzi schemers are parasites who feed on unsuspecting victims and knowingly suck dry their life's saving to the ends of the earth and drag them back to face justice in an American courtroom.
And prosecutors here in Atlanta say the FBI worked with Fijian authorities to get the suspect back on U.S. soil. They say he could see a judge here in Atlanta within the next 3 weeks. Of course, he will have to be extradited from California to here in that time. Tom?
It's these Ponzi schemes, as the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Georgia mentioned, are shocking in their nature. These people, many of them, hand over their life savings to people like this, thinking that they're acting in their best interest. One can only think of Bernie Madoff. And how many people he ripped off to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. Did authorities at all, Annie, talk about the recouping of some of this money, the restitution, the, for investors to kind of reclaim? I mean, with Madoff, they seized a lot of his assets. They were able to reclaim a lot of the cash. Do we know yet if that's going to be possible in this case? Perhaps we don't.
Yes, and the U.S. Attorney did say that that is something that they will also be looking at. But unfortunately, he says that many of these victims, again, 6,000 across the world, will not be able to get the amount that they invested back just because it was, such a large investment that these people were making. And he says, people would invest and then he would not pay them, not give them the return. And then he would promise them that if they invested again, he would give them double the money. And then that still didn't happen. So people kept falling in this cycle. So very unfortunate. He says there are a lot of victims, some here in Georgia, but again, all across the world, not just in the U.S. And these are folks who were learning about this online. The internet, you see ads like this, but unfortunately, authorities say it was all fake.
I'm sure we'll be hearing from some of those victims in the wake of all this, especially after the arrests, victim impact statements, and things like that. Annie Mapp, on top of this story of this dramatic capture of the suspect. Annie, thanks so much. Also following some breaking news this afternoon from Grady Hospital, where Atlanta police are investigating an officer-involved shooting. This happened on Clark Howard Lane. An officer struck by gunfire. Suspect barricaded themselves during all this. Angelique Proctor live at the hospital this afternoon with the condition of this officer, Angelique, and the latest on the investigation this afternoon.
Well, good afternoon to you, Tom. We want to begin with the good news, and that is that this officer, Devontae Matthews, is in great shape. He is talking. He is listed in stable condition, and the police have said he is going to make a full recovery. And so that is certainly what we wanted to hear after a very disturbing morning, really, of violence that happened in Southwest Atlanta. Let's go now to the scene. Chief Darren Shearbaum and Mayor Andre Dickens both sprung right into action the moment they heard about this officer-involved shooting on Clark Howard Lane in Southwest Atlanta. The chief said it was a mental health call and that suspect Michael Gates had a gun. The mayor is challenging county and state officials to do more in the area of mental health, while Gates' family is telling us they were really surprised that he shot an officer. They also note that he had been off of his medication.
The very officer that's in here on a stretcher right now has been to that home multiple times on mental health calls. This individual is diagnosed with schizophrenia, bipolar, and a number of other things. But there was a firearm in the household. And so everyone needs to know that mental health is real, mental illness is real in our community, and that those people that should be helping us do something about this have to do more. And so when we look at state officials that are running for higher office, when we look at county officials, mental health and physical health are all in the hands of county and state officials.
Officers of Zone 4 Day Watch responded to the call. The call was a person in a mental health crisis. While the officers were attempting to address the situation, they were fired upon. And during that gunfire, our officer was shot in the arm. He is going to fully recover from those injuries. We now have in custody a Michael Gates, age 24, who's being transported to public safety headquarters, and he will be charged accordingly, attempting to take the life of an Atlanta police officer.
He was having a mental episode. He is schizophrenic, and he has been off of his meds. That was completely shocking to hear that an officer was shot in the whole mess, but that's not like he's never shown me any signs of aggression or things like that. So to hear that, it was distressing, and even for his brother, because I told my husband, and he's like, that's crazy. We have to find out what's going on, because that's not like him at all.
And so Gates' family apologized for what happened, and they said it was important for them to make sure that this officer went home to his family tonight. Chief Shearbaum says that there are actually 19 calls a day with these mental health crises that APD officers are responding to, and that's why you heard the mayor just very adamant that something needs to be done, because he feels like these officers could be doing other police-type things rather than dealing with mental health crises, which is what they have ended up doing, and that was, in fact, the case in this call this morning. Tom?
Obviously, Angelique, a situation where responding to a mental health crisis led to what was a very dangerous situation for that officer. We're just glad, as you reported at the top of your live shot there, that he is doing much better at Grady Memorial Hospital this afternoon. Angelique Proctor, live for us outside the hospital. Angelique, thanks so much. I want to talk about some severe weather. Floodwaters raging in Indianapolis, Indiana this afternoon, leaving death and damage in its wake. Take a look at some of the images that we've gotten into the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom, where at least 7 people, we understand, have died as a result of these storms. A spokesperson for the State Department of Homeland Security says that a 4-year-old boy, 3 men and 3 women among those who had since been taken. Days of storms in Indiana causing record-setting flooding, according to the Indianapolis Department of Public Works. Flooding from the White River, we understand, peaking, surpassing records set in 1913. Residents say returning to flood-damaged neighborhoods where they left in a hurry, they found their vehicles turned over, their homes damaged. The heavy rains hammered Indiana over the past 6 weeks alone. The alleged mastermind behind the Tupac Shakur murder is going to head to trial nearly 3 decades after that killing. 62-year-old Dwayne Keffield Davis appeared in a Las Vegas courtroom and is set to go on trial today. Prosecutors say that Davis organized the 1996 drive-by shooting on the Vegas Strip that killed the famous rap artist. The investigation into Davis's role ramped up after his tell-all memoir revealed he had provided the weapons used to shoot Shakur. Davis, who was arrested back in 2023, has pleaded not guilty to the murder charges. The trial is expected to last about 5 weeks, we understand. More news, this time from the Supreme Court, who has denied President Trump's request to throw out the E. Jean Carroll $5 million civil judgment. Trump's lawyers asked the justices if they would reconsider hearing his appeal. The court, in turn, denied the request and several other petitions from him as well. A jury in 2023 found the president liable for sexual abuse and defaming the writer. Trump was ordered to pay $5 million for the case, which he did last month. The team is also asking the Supreme Court to toss out another verdict relating to Carroll that amounted to $83 million. The president has denied any wrongdoing in all of these cases. When we come back here on this Monday afternoon during the 3 p.m. streaming hour, we are going to get a check of our weather. And boy, this might be the hottest day we've had really since we can remember this summer. It's hot. Temperatures in some areas touching the triple digits. We're going to find out how long this heat is going to last when we come back. Welcome back, everybody, to the 3 p.m. streaming hour here on Fox Local. Tom Haines, Marquise Meda to talk about our weather. Boy, it has been hot as we take a live look at Lake Lanier this afternoon. Probably a good day to be out on a lake to seek some heat relief.
I'd say a better day to just stay inside where the AC is on.
That's the problem, though. The ACs they just can't keep up with the heat. They're running like all day.
I can see that.
I'm afraid to see my power bill next month.
Gotta keep that generator close by, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Times like this, but as you mentioned or alluded to, this is some of the warmest air that we felt so far this season. Take a look at Eatonton. You guys have now crushed that triple-digit barrier, 100 degrees on the dot, and we actually have seen our warmest weather here in Atlanta as well. We hit 98 degrees just before 3 p.m., and that ties our record for the year thus far. You're even warmer in Covington, 99 degrees, Athens 98, Gainesville 94, so we are no stranger to the 90s here in northern Georgia. It's like a blast from the past. Like the boy bands are coming back. Welcome to the 90s, right? But as we take a look at Viper radar, newly added over the last few hours is this severe thunderstorm watch, as we could have a couple rumbles rolling into northern Georgia, especially in our mountain areas. And this is where we have that watch issued. It's going to stretch from Chattanooga through Calhoun all the way up to Blairsville, in which later tonight we could start to see much more widespread thunderstorms in that area, all courtesy of this slow-moving frontal boundary here. This is what allowed for the heavy rain in Indiana. We actually have flood watches in place from Ohio through Kentucky down into West Virginia as well. You see the storms just on the north side of the front, and those will be pushing further south as we move across the day. So to no surprise, there is a severe weather risk. It's a 2 out of 5 issued by the Storm Prediction Center. This is just towards the east of Nashville through Greensboro, also Charlotte, and even touching our northernmost communities here in northern Georgia. So frequent lightning, that's on tap for us today. Not all of us will hear that rumble of thunder, but where we hear thunder roars, of course, get indoors. But on top of that, watch out for isolated chances for hail and strong wind gusts that could be up to 60 miles per hour in those outflow boundaries where storms start to collide, or perhaps even in those downbursts as well. So outside of the areas receiving heavier showers today, we have a heat advisory in place. As I mentioned to start, we are trending very warm, if not the warmest weather we've seen so far this year, with heat index values anywhere between 105 and 110 degrees. Now, the good news is we will cool down just a bit tomorrow, and that's courtesy of that same frontal boundary now moving closer to the I-20 corridor later on tonight. So we'll be watching that front quite closely this evening, as the chance for showers will be much more of a late evening threat than to start off the night. Mostly clear by 1 p.m. is what we saw. And then we saw those temperatures rise to 98 degrees. We're to hover around that heading into 4 and 5 o'clock before we start to cool down with a little bit more cloud coverage. Ultimately, your live Viper radar still shows that front draped across Tennessee through North Carolina, and much heavier showers just to the north. You see across Kentucky into southern Ohio, another band of showers rolling through the area. Flood watches and flood advisories in effect. Those stretch into West Virginia as well. Not so much for us here. We've been trending fairly dry inside the perimeter so far today, the exception just being a few clouds and, of course, the humidity in the air, but that's what allows for those feels like temperatures to be unbearable right now. So as we take you through hour by hour, looking at this particular model here, better chance for storms, of course, across our northernmost communities. Kat and you guys will be cooling down once the rain begins to enter. Take a look at how cool you get in Blairsville, right? That's the power of the outflow boundary within storms, or between storms, better yet, dropping you down to 75 degrees by 8 o'clock. And we could still see some storms north of I-20 before tonight is said and done, but we'll be trending much drier and a little bit cooler once this front passes through. I'll call it a cool front as opposed to a cold front, as it won't be cooling us down by much. Your forecast lows for tonight will range between the upper 60s in Blairsville to the upper 70s here in Atlanta. 78 is where your thermometers will likely stall out before the night is said and done. And then as we continue across your Tuesday, high temperatures are back in the mid-90s. You nearly match that on Wednesday, and you're a degree warmer Thursday. So it's a slow rise back into the upper 90s Thursday before another cool down Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, placing temperatures, Tom, back in the low 90s.
Well, they say that summer has a last gasp, all right, and we always look for it.
I don't know if it's a gas, it's like a sigh right now. I mean, a sigh of relief at the end of the forecast.
Yeah, well, relief is what we're looking for, but I mean, it always like gets super hot, and then that kind of marks we got the real hot stuff out of the way, and hopefully we're like looking to see if fall is around the corner.
Off the horizon right now.
I'm desperate, okay?
Well, here's the thing. It's like it almost lulls you to sleep sometimes because you get into a steady pattern, lower 90s. And then it's like the kids go back to school and you're thinking, hey,
that's fall. It's over. Football starts, you know?
Unfortunately, Mother Nature has other plans, and those plans included heats for today. A brief cool down tomorrow. More considerable cool down will be coming your way this weekend.
Never thought I'd say I'll take 92, but over 98, definitely.
Most definitely.
Marquise, thanks so much. I want to head out to Georgia Tech right now, where as we kind of close out the weather segment on that live picture of Lake Lanier, where we always love to look out onto the lake, especially on a 98-degree day like this. Standing out in the 98-degree weather, our own Rob DiRienzo. Rob, hopefully you're under a tree out there at Tech. following this group of tech students counting down the final hours now of this simulated mission to Mars. And I understand it involves some student astronauts who've been living in isolation. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, Tom, good afternoon to you. It is a pretty cool one, and I do have to point out these students we're talking about here at Georgia Tech's Mission Control are a few blocks away from here in some air conditioning, so thankfully they aren't out here sweltering in this heat. But as you mentioned, they have a crew member of 5 astronauts, or if you want to call them astronauts, they call them analog astronauts. They're out in Arkansas right now in complete isolation in a former nuclear silo, and this is supposed to emulate what it's like in outer space. You think about the limited communication, limited resources, even limited daylight. So they've been doing that. This is now day 9, the final day of this 10-day mission. They call it C1 Thalassa is tomorrow. And this group called Southeast Analog is made up of a bunch of really smart kids and young adults, not only from Georgia Tech, but from places all over across the country, or universities all over the country. So it's really cool what they're doing. This is the first mission they've done with this organization here on Georgia Tech's campus. Like I mentioned, they have a mission control here on campus, and they gave me an inside look. Look.
Our astronauts, we want to mirror their mental state as much as possible of what it would be like being on Mars. So they're eating freeze-dried food. They're exercising for about an hour and a half to 2 hours every day, just like you would have to. They're going out on spacewalks. They're not really getting to see Earth's sunlight. They're living underground. They're not seeing greenery. To get them in that mental state of what is it like to live in this confined, underground, space-like environment.
We're simulating it as much as possible so that we can really have that real Martian feeling, or lunar feeling if we choose to do so, and really understand the kind of challenges that come with living on another planet long term and conducting research.
So, Tom, that Mission Control Center is staffed 24/7 throughout the duration of this experiment, or mission, if you want to call it. They say they learn a lot, not only about how to do all of this, but also how the human mind works under these conditions. It's something really important to kind of factor into these missions once they do real ones. Now, I asked a lot of these organizers, could we actually see a mission to Mars in our lifetime? They say, absolutely, it's feasible, but there's got to be the passion there. There's got to be the energy, that same space race type energy that got us to the moon. So be wait and see, but you got a ton of smart PhD students and undergrads here on Georgia Tech's campus learning how to make that happen, Tom.
Yeah, Georgia Tech full of geniuses. You got to think that some of these kids are aspiring workers at, not only places like NASA, but you got SpaceX. So many opportunities, Rob, have now kind of cropped up for these young people. It's not just NASA anymore. Space is the next frontier. You got Amazon, which is going up into space. You got Elon Musk going up into space. I guess, in a way, that's kind of their inspiration.
In many ways it is, and I know there are former NASA astronauts, former members of the International Space Station who are completely aware of what they're doing. They've had guest speakers in and out all week, so they're clearly impressed by this. And like you said, and it's important to emphasize that although this is, I guess, fictional, it's a mock-up, it really informs that real-world work that not only happens in the public sector, in the military, and then you also think of the private sector, like you mentioned, SpaceX, and all these other companies that are trying to figure out how to get into outer space.
These kids are going to be who are charting us into that next frontier, as you mentioned, Mars being one of them. Yeah. Rob DiRienzo, lucky you, live on the campus of Georgia Tech this afternoon. Rob, thanks so much. Want to talk about some news overseas and the situation between the United States and Iran, which has been tenuous, to say the least, sending oil prices up. The benchmark crude prices are up again today. That's sending markets markedly lower this afternoon. The 60-day window for the U.S. and Iran to finalize a permanent peace deal expiring today. This is the MOU, the mutual understanding agreement between those two countries. But negotiators and negotiations remain stalled. And President Trump is telling Fox News that he's in no hurry to end the war. That's kind of surprising coming from the commander-in-chief. With midterm elections really like right around the corner. We're at the kind of nearing the end of August, September, October, just 2.5 months away. And the economy is weighing heavily on the minds of voters. And in the overshadowing all of this is the situation in Iran, which, as I said, remains tenuous. Large-scale U.S. airstrikes on Iran have been on hold since late July, but there's very little, if any, progress toward a deal to end the war and fully reopen the Strait of Hormuz. The president's saying that he wants to make the strait U.S. territory. The clock's running out, though, on this temporary moratorium of understanding that the president signed in June. He's not setting a new deadline for Tehran. So there's a lot of decision-making to be made here. What is the resolution to the conflict in Iran, and when will it resolve? Many people want to know, including those of us who head to the gas pump every week to fill up our cars, because gas prices are going up once again. The price of aviation is going up. I mean, it's really ricocheting throughout the economy. Let's talk about South Korea, another hotspot part of the world, who shares a border with North Korea, another nuclear nation. The president has plenty to say about South Korea. He's angry that the government there won't support the war in Iran, and he's tired of paying for American military drills, so he's scaling them back. That's the president, Kim Jong-un, who you just saw. The president met with Kim Jong-un during his first term. Joint military drills with South Korea began Monday, but it's a much smaller affair this year after the president ordered the Pentagon to scale back. The president citing his friendly relationship with the North Korean leader, as well as South Korea's lack of support for the Iranian war. Writing in part, quote, "These exercises are not only costly, with much of the cost paid for by the United States of America, as usual," according to the president, but sends a signal that it's totally inappropriate and hostile. That is, South Korea's non-support of the war in Iran. It was an unexpected move that came just days after South Korea's president offered the North an olive branch. So we'll continue to follow news out of that region. The president saying that he's still friendly with Kim Jong-un, but will that translate into another bilateral meeting between those two leaders? We'll have to wait and see. Xi Jinping, who you just saw there a second ago, next month for a huge summit meeting at the White House with President Trump. He's a huge factor in all of this. China's support of Iran, China's support of North Korea. They are a major global player and major influence over all of this. It will definitely be talked about when those two leaders meet next month. When we come back, we're going to hit our Chris Rosenthal, who's live for us this afternoon. He's up in Smyrna to tell us about this new generation of skilled trade workers who are set to make their mark on society. AI-proof is what I call skilled trade workers, plumbers, electricians, things like that. They have real major job security, and I love how our Chris Rosenthal highlights those careers. He's going to do just that after the break. Welcome back to the 3 p.m. streaming hour. I'm Tom Haines, your host, here live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. Appreciate you streaming with us. If you're on your mobile device, on our free app, Fox Local, where everything happens, news, information, features, you name it, weather, it's all there in the streaming app. If you're at home watching on one of your live channels, we welcome you as well, and the comfort and coolness of your home, where it's not 103 degrees, hopefully. Or if you're on one of our social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, at Fox 5 Atlanta, we welcome you as well. Or if you're driving out and about in town and you're listening to us on our radio partner 107.9 HD2 FM, we're certainly glad you're listening to us today. Let's get out to our Chris Rosenthal this afternoon in Smyrna, where a new 117,000 square foot facility is set to open up to train Georgia's next generation of skilled trade workers. And this is where it's at. If you want a secure career where you don't have AI breathing down your neck, Chris, this is the place to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're talking about the hot temperatures, and just one of the many skilled trades that's in demand is HVAC, and that's one of the many skills that they train for here at Universal Technical Institute. I was here when they first moved in here, and we're putting this under construction here in Smyrna, and back in January, and it's really starting to come to life. They just opened their first group of students here mid-July, and bringing more in. I'm actually in the welding section now here. This is just one of the many welding booths here, but they offer a variety of those skilled trade positions or skilled trade training to eventually get jobs in those fields. So I have Rich here with Universal Technical Institute. Hey everybody. And we will walk through here, but tell me a little bit about why skilled trades? Why is this why are they so valuable now?
So skilled trades are really in demand right now. We're seeing a lot of people in the industry are retiring and moving out of those skilled trades, and there's not really enough people to backfill them. So right now there's more jobs available than we could even have enough students to fill. So huge demand.
And here in Georgia, here even in Smyrna locally, I mean, there's a lot of industry, and I understand they're coming to you guys asking for workers, huh?
Yes, all the time. We are probably every week 2 to 3 employers are on site doing tours, asking us, when are you going to have graduates, right? We just got started, so it's really exciting that many people are coming here and they're looking for the students already.
Gotcha. And some of those students are on break now, but let's get a little bit of a tour. Just walk me through. And this is, by the way, just keep this in mind. This is a very small part of this huge 115,000 square foot facility. But
so we just came out of welding. What you're seeing now is our aviation program, so aviation maintenance, airframe, power plant. So students can come out of here and be working on all different kinds of aircraft. As we go down through here, I mean, you're seeing a lot of our different trainers. The next space over here is our HVAC department, so residential and commercial HVAC and refrigeration. So everything all in one place.
These are very popular guys now.
Very popular right now with the temperatures. And then back over here is, we call this our electrical suite. So there's actually 3 different programs kind of in one. So we have industrial maintenance, low voltage, and robotics and automation programs, but with a very strong presence on the electrical side.
And it's too far to walk in this live shot. That's how big this building is, but there's also a very big automotive section there. With a variety of different disciplines there as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And we talk about AI. I think a lot of people are concerned that AI might be a problem for their careers. What are you seeing here in the skilled labor?
Yeah, so when it comes to skilled trades, AI, it can be a great tool. It could help you out with some diagnostics or maybe to help you find parts, but AI can't be the one to actually go in and build it. We talk sometimes about people that design it or come up with it. You still need somebody to put their hands on it, to build it, to fix it, to diagnose it and repair it. So it's one of those jobs to where it might help you do your job, but it can't take it away.
Yeah. And for people looking at jobs, I mean, who is this for? Are we talking high school, college students? Are we talking, people who may be trying to, further along, trying to pivot in careers? Who's this for?
Right. It's really for everyone. I would say the bulk of our students is kind of that 18 to 25, but the reality is we have everybody coming in. We have some people that are transitioning. We've even seen people that already have a 4-year degree that come in to do something different, and some of those skills they learned from that 4-year degree actually help them become even better in the skilled trades.
Yeah, you were talking about some people have a business sense or business background, and they can use that to maybe start an HVAC business or something like that.
Correct. Yeah.
The programs, how long do they last?
So anywhere between 9 months all the way up to a year and a half. It just depends on which one that you're looking at.
Gotcha. And you're cycling every 3 weeks. You're starting. So
every 3 to 6 weeks we have a new start. So if you're looking to come get started with us, it's sooner than you think.
Yeah. People want to do that. How would they do that? Would they reach out to you?
So,
how do they do that?
Yep. So uti.edu, and you can connect with an admissions representative, and they can get you all the information that you need.
Gotcha. Yeah, right here in Smyrna, and I'll tell you, this facility is absolutely impressive. Like I said, Tom, this is just a very this is a small portion of this this entire place here. Like I said, some of the students are on break right now, and they're just ramping up and welcoming more in here. But this got everything well equipped here for skilled trade training.
I mean, when you have a small aircraft inside that facility, I would tend to agree with you that it's very, very impressive. I mean, look at that thing. Ages where one might be able to start to learn and practice there. I mean, is this sort of a post-high school type facility? And then do you get any kind of certificate when you leave there?
Yeah, I mean, Rich, talk to that. First of all, what do you get when you leave here? And I know it probably depends on the program, but you get certificate, job opportunities.
It's anywhere from a diploma to a certificate. We do have a couple programs that actually have an associate's degree with them, depending on the program.
Gotcha. And like we were talking about, I mean, you're even getting into the high schools here, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we actually do a lot of recruiting in high schools. So we're going out talking with guidance counselors, instructors, just anywhere that we can go that students might be interested.
Yeah, and it's an alternative for those that may not want the 4-year traditional degree.
Exactly, and I think what we're seeing is a big shift, especially since COVID. I think a lot of students are looking at, where are the jobs at? And sometimes that 4-year degree isn't the right path for many people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's often been a stigma towards some of these types of jobs, but they're hot. They're hot, and they're well paying too.
A stigma no more. I mean, these tradesmen and women are going to be the ones laughing when AI is eclipsing a lot of the workforce out there. Chris Rosenthal, what a tremendous resource to have right in our own backyard. Chris, thanks so much. We have some sad news to report this afternoon. Actress Hayden Panettiere has reportedly died at the age of 36. Panettière's representative reported that the Bringing It On actress has died. Her father, Skip Panettiere, released a statement to ABC News saying, quote, "It is with profound sadness that we share the tragic passing of our beloved Hayden." The actress she got her start as a child star, known for her roles as Claire Bennett on the series Heroes and as Juliet Barnes in the show Nashville. Panettiere released a memoir titled "This Is Me, A Reckoning." Future details surrounding her death have yet to be released. Singer Bonnie Tyler has been laid to rest. Thousands of Bonnie Tyler fans gathering in the Welsh singer's hometown to honor the total eclipse of the heart icon. Now, if you know that, then that means you're around my age, but it's a great song. Bonnie Tyler certainly responsible for a lot of other great hits. The singer died unexpectedly on July 8th at a hospital in Portugal.
Well, having grown up as a singer in Pontarddulais and Swansea, she's someone who's inspired me hugely throughout my whole life. She's such a warm person. Even if you don't know her, you feel that warmth, and if you do know her, you're blessed with the warmth that she extends to you, regardless of how she meets you. She's hugely inspirational, and to see that she's touched so much of the world, being a Welsh person from her hometown, it's really special and a privilege to call yourself Welsh when you know you're from the same place as Bonnie Tyler. Tyler.
I first saw her when I was about 18. I was always starstruck because I've got an older sister who was into her. And when I remember her in Lost in France and It's a Heartache, I was like, wow. Then I went to a nightclub that she eventually owned and saw her in the bathroom there. And I was trying not to act like a starstruck teenager, but I was. And then over the years, I've got friendly with, like, I watch her brother's band and I got friendly with people that she knows. And I just always thought she's Welsh through and through. She might be a global star, but her heart is in Wales and always has been. And I just, everything about her, she's natural. There's no fake stuff. When you see her on an interview, she's just who she is, and I love that. And I love how she loves everybody, particularly her family.
Singer Bonnie Tyler, dead at the age of 75. When we come back, closer to home, a lot happening on the west side, a brand new multi-family development in the works, and our Eli Jordan is there when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. So happy you're here this afternoon. There's a great transformation underway on the city's west side. The Future Fund's broken ground on its new multi-family development in Vine City. And our Eli Jordan is there.
Hey, good afternoon. Yes, this property here at 280 James Brawley Drive in Vine City has been a blight and sat vacant for many, many years. Today, though, it's going to change. Groundbreaking happened with city leaders, the mayor, District 3 Councilman Byron Amos, and the Westside Future Fund, their first ground-up project. Now, the Westside Future Fund is a grassroots effort to revitalize the community, especially here in Vine City. Their motto is restoration without relocation. They want to keep legacy families in the neighborhoods where they've lived all their lives, have people living here that work here and play here and go to school here. Now, the Westside Future Fund is planning to develop an 18-unit multi-story development, $6.7 million. Now, this is all part of the fund's plan to convert vacant, blighted land into affordable housing, which allows legacy residents to remain. Now, the mayor seems to be very happy with this, and so does District 3 Councilman Byron Amos. Here's what they had to say.
This is again a part of our neighborhood reinvestment initiative because the families who stayed here and raised their children here, and they kept believing in this neighborhood, they deserve to experience the very best that Atlanta has to offer. So the neighborhood reinvestment is our commitment to making sure they do. This is also supported by our tax allocation district support that you guys are going to be getting to be able to help make this happen as we've used throughout this corridor, the West Side 10. So congratulations, Vine City. I look forward to coming coming back when these 18 families get their keys.
This isn't just a project. It is a promise to invest in a neighborhood that has poured its heart into the city, often without receiving enough in return. But these future homes will stand as a source of strength for our families and our teachers who hold this community together every single day.
And that was our Eli Jordan reporting from the city's west side, where big plans are underway for this multi-family development. That's going to do it for us for the 3 p.m. streaming hour. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. Don't go anywhere. The news continues right here, right now.